is 5:37 on May 5th, and we are calling this meeting to order. Can we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence, please.
Moment of silence, please.
Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. City Secretary, can we please have roll call?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. Honorable Mayor Dr. Victor D. Trevino. Honorable Council Member District 1 Gilbert Gonzalez. Honorable Council Member District 2 Ricardo Rangel Jr. Honorable Council Member District 3 Melissa Cigarroa.
Present.
Honorable Council Member District 4 Ricardo Rick Garza.
Here.
Honorable Council Member District 5 Ruben Gutierrez Jr.
Present.
Honorable Council Member District 6 Dr. Tyler King.
Here.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem Vanessa Perez.
Present.
Honorable Council Member District 8 Alisa Cigarroa.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem, you have a quorum.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, just a motion to excuse Mayor Trevino.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Anyone against? Motion passes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting on April 7th and April 22nd?
So moved.
So I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. I would like to entertain a motion to bring up the recognitions, please. We have a lot of people here.
Second that.
Mayor, Pro Tem, if I may, can I bring up my item or my recognition first? I got my little firefighters up there and they're excited. They're making the noise and, so let's bring them up.
Councilmember Rangel, can you just give me the order of the
Yes, ma'am.
items to bring up, please?
It's, the supplemental agenda, I think it's room number 3,
Supplemental
C3.
item 3, and then?
C3,
And the other items, please?
C3. 48-1.
40A1. Any other recognitions? Okay, the motion is to bring those two items up in that order. Can I get a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Councilmember Rangel, your item?
All right. So today I want to, bring forward some champions that we have here. They're ladies. They dance. I've seen them. I've been to a couple of competitions of them. I'm very happy to do this recognition to you ladies. You did an awesome job, and I'm talking to all of you. I guess you know what you're talking. I'm talking to all of you. I saw you won nationals. It's awesome. You do a great job. We're excited up here. Everybody's excited for you. I see you with your jackets. Can you stand up and so we can show their jackets? Nice. So let me recognize the team Desire of Karma Athletics for their outstanding dedication, teamwork, and passion. Formed in July 2024, your commitment to excellence, even on weekends and holidays, has accomplished the following awards: James Fest Superior, ACA Superior with Golden Ticket, NCA Superior, NCA All-Star Superior, and ACA US Final #1 rank. So they're led by their coaches, which they put their time, effort, and everything, and their dedication. Ms. Selena Flores and Ms. Alexa Vela. This recognition is sponsored by Councilman Garza, which when I asked him, he said, I'll jump in. He's always for sports, and they're always happy to support. So thank you, Mr. Councilman Garza, for doing this. Good. So ladies, come up. Let's get your awards.
Does anybody want to make a comment?
Yes.
First, before we do if you want to bring up the girls, and then if anybody wants to speak on would you like to make a comment?
Yes.
please.
I can already, I make the comment. Oh, in the middle.
Yes, let me just add something. Can I just do one on, right? Okay. You know, at the same time, I forgot to mention the very most important people in this recognition, the parents. Thank you for everything you do for Laredo. Thank you for doing your time. I know it takes a lot of time, effort from your time, from your being away from your family. I know you have other children to attend, and you take your time to take these ladies that are very, you know, right now they're ready to take pictures and stuff, but they're excited. But that's all because of the love that you guys give them. Thank you so much for everything you do as a parent, as coaches, you know, showing them rules, morale, and everything. So thank you so much once again. You know, Team Desire, once again, let's give them a hand. So let's start with the names.
Mayor, if I may, Mayor, if I may, just one extra thing, Councilmember Rangel, we could have Councilmember Garza also say a few words to the girls. I know he wanted to say a few words. He's actually a co-sponsor for this item as well.
Oh, I'm totally impressed by your demeanor today. Oh, my Lord, I can't believe all the success that you've had, but you've had it for one reason. You pay attention to your parents and you pay attention to your teachers, always, right? Am I right about that? So I love the way you all are dressed today. You all deserve to get recognized every day if you dress like that. So congratulations.
Councilman.
Hi, I'm Selena Flores. I am the gym owner of Karma Athletics. I first would like to thank you all for having us here today. It is such an honor for us to be here. These athletes may be young, but they make so many sacrifices. They miss friends' birthday parties, family parties, and our parents are just as dedicated, taking them to every practice. And it's been such a successful season, and we're super excited. And we can't wait for season 8, but this has been a great season, so I just want to thank you for having us today. Thank you.
Alison Guerrero.
Step up, get your word, step
And go back to your spot. Angelisa Barrientos. Just pick up your hand and I'll give it to you. Is that you? Yeah, just raise your hand. Alina Flores. Yeah, here we go. Ari Leal. Here you go. Jocelyn Cázares. Casey Solis. Kate Reese. Olivia Sánchez. Ariana Treviño. Cataleya Garza. Alessandra de los Santos. Alessandra. Oh, sorry. Okay. Shay Mitchell. Aria Garcia. Selena Flores. Coach? I just heard that name. Coach Alexa Vela. Juliana Rocha. Jade Arzola. Hazel Ramos. Keilani Flores.
So once again, congratulations. Let's take a picture. Who wants to hold this?
I'm gonna stand right here on this side so that I can. My first row, make sure you better use it.
You can stay, yeah, if you can pick it up, pick it up.
I can't see some faces.
The back row, the back row.
Right here in front of you. Hold and you look at me, okay? We're gonna take a couple pictures. The ones in the front, you're gonna bend down a little. Okay, here we go.
while we're clearing the room for that item, I'd like to start with item 48-1. Whose item was that one? Dr. King? Let's bring that item.
Item 40A1. I'll just let them filter out a little bit. Mic's on, mic's on. Okay, 40A1, recognizing Girl Scouts Troop 07043 for their outstanding commitment in fostering leadership, confidence, and character through meaningful community engagement. Troop 07043 exemplifies the mission of Girl Scouting to build girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. We're also recognizing the 7 dedicated troop leaders, Dr. Alessandra Chacon, Lucero Garza, Yulisa Leal, Andrea Sepulveda, Dr. Grace Snyder, Debbie Karen, and Dr. Ryan Reyes, whose guidance and mentorship have helped create a supportive and enriching environment for the girls to thrive. Their efforts continue to inspire future generations to lead with purpose and compassion. I'd also like to add that these Girl Scouts are being acknowledged for their community service and their accomplishments, such as the badges they have worked so hard to earn. These recognitions celebrate their growth in areas like leadership, self-confidence, and positive values. Just real quickly, they can't all be there, but so their names are listed in the record. Deborah Solis, this is the kindergarten, the Daisy group. Emily Reyes, Renata Solis, Sloan Alcaraz, Sophie Rosa, Valentina Reyes, Luna Diaz, Alana Nacher, Antonella Name del Miar. I have some, the last name, some of them I'm messing up, I apologize. Aria Sepulveda, Arlene Ramos, Abre Fernandez, Camila Longoria, Cecilia Camero, Claire
How about they
McNutt.
come up as you call their names?
Yeah, so many of them, but okay, let's come up. Come on up here, guys. Yeah.
Come on up, girls.
We'll do it, Doug. And I believe you guys already have your certificates. They've already been given to you.
Tyler, would you like them to speak some?
Yeah. Now, would Dr. Reyes or Dr. Faz like to speak to explain about what they've done, been up to?
Good job, girls.
Can we get a comment from on the? Right here. It's right there, the red.
Thank you so much for recognizing us. We're the Girl Scouts Troop 07043. We're composed mostly of girls from United Day. We are very excited to be here. We really want to make sure that these girls are felt honored and recognized. They have worked super hard to earn a lot of badges, and all of this is to create future leaders. And thank you so much for having us here today. We appreciate y'all.
Juliana Paz, Sofía Reyes, Belén Cano, Emma Garza, Frida Medina, Katia García, Victoria Reyes Retana, and Alessandra Chacon. I'm going to take a picture from over here.
Put your certificate facing out. There you go. Or take a picture.
One, two, three. One more. One, two, three. Parents, you can stand on this side or in the middle, wherever you want. Smile big, girl. Sophie, look at the camera. Smile.
Somebody sing him like a McDonald's.
Congratulations, girls.
Thank you.
I'm a daddy.
Thank you. We're now going to move on to citizen comments. We have Albert Guajardo. It's the one with the red button.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, I'm Alberto Guajardo. I'm from the Don Quixote Sin Fronteras 2025.
Hold on. Can we have order, please? Hold on, just 1 minute.
Not done yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Today we're here before you to bring forth the good news to invite you to the first Festival Binational of the Don Quixote Sin Fronteras 2025, which will take place on June the 6th, Friday, and Saturday, June 7th, simultaneously with events in Nuevo Laredo. This is to honor Miguel Cervantes Saavedra's memory and celebrate Don Quixote's deeds. The goals of the organization is to honor Miguel Cervantes' work and memory by celebrating the feats of Don Quixote with literary, pictorial, and artistic festivities in Laredo, Texas, and to foster a dialogue as well as the ties of brotherhood and respect between residents of those Laredos. This will be the first along the U.S.-Mexican border and the second in the Mexico border, and it will be the first in the United States. Some of the activities that we have for our event include a poetry contest, an exhibition of figures, books, sculptures, artifacts about Don Quixote, an exhibition and sale of Don Quixote paintings, sculptures and ceramic figures, a conference on Cervantes and Don Quixote by well-known Cervantino scholars, a Callejonada musical parade, one-act play performances by local actors and artists, and a tableo de ballet flamenco as well. So therefore, we would like to welcome all of you to be part of this, and we did include in our paperwork a preliminary schedule for our different events. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. We have Raimundo Salazar.
Buenas.
Aquí enfrente, señor. Aquí
Ahí
enfrente.
¿Ahí?
sí.
En la pantalla.
Pues que yo no, buenas tardes. Yo no sé, es que yo no sé
Los,
mucho
los-
hablar, ¿verdad?
los comentarios públicos son 3 minutos, ¿ok? Empieza ahorita.
Sí, pero o sea, es que yo no sé mucho hablar.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may. Puede hablar en español si quiere, si gusta. No, no tiene que, lo que usted siente, lo que viene a hablar, pues dígalo. Nomás sin maldiciones ni nada de eso. Todo lo demás. Puede hablar usted también.
Sí, los
Laura.
dos, por favor.
Sí. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Leticia Palacios, ¿verdad? Entonces venimos nosotros nada más a hacer un comentario que como ciudadanos, ¿verdad? Que estamos residentes aquí de Laredo, merecemos un respeto, y el respeto es que él pasó por un incidente el lunes. Eso no lo podemos decir aquí porque yo respeto a todos, soy muy respetuosa con las personas, que así se debe hacer. Entonces aquí nomás el comentario que queremos es de que se nos respete como ciudadanos, que él también tiene derecho a hablar de un incidente que le pasó el lunes en los edificios de la ciudad, del metro. Entonces eso es lo único que pedimos, ¿verdad? Para ustedes, y pues no vamos a comentar aquí lo demás, sino queremos que se investigue ese problema del lunes, día 30 de mayo,
Mr. Knapp,
no, de abril.
can
30 de abril.
somebody speak to them after the meeting about their incident so we can look to the bottom? Van a hablar con ustedes, el city manager, para ver qué podemos hacer para ayudar a ustedes y qué pasó.
Saludos, Mr.
Muchos saludos, man.
Saludos a
Gracias.
todos. Gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias a ustedes.
Thank you. We have Ricardo Sandoval.
Good afternoon, Council, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm Ricardo Sandoval, and I'm here to just give a public comment. The overwhelming reputation of this municipal bond, rejected by 84% of voters, was not simply about 4 poorly constructed propositions. It was a resounding no, vote of no confidence in this council, no in confidence in the city manager, and the way this government has conducted itself. These bonds offer zero return on investment for everyday citizens. They were shaped on a rubber stamp committee, marketed with emotionally manipulative PR, and designed to benefit a selected few, not the people of Laredo. There was no meaningful outreach, no comprehensive planning, and no transparency. And when concerns were raised, they were dismissed, deflected, and drowned out by taxpayers funded one-sided campaigns on official city platforms. Let's be clear. This vote was a rejection of arrogance in leadership and a rejection of council that is, quite frankly, out of touch with the people it claims to represent. Even after the decisive outcome, the city's response has been tone deaf. While the city says it will now look for alternative funding, that should have been done before proceeding with an election that cost us around $200,000 to conduct. We don't need new ways to spend. We need accountability. We don't need the word transparency to be thrown out in meaningless PRs, stunts. We need actual data and evidence supporting the need for our money to be spent wisely. We must start making smarter decisions because voting in a block is only costing the city millions. Eliminate the bloated discretionary funds handed to council members each year. Reevaluate council pensions and salaries, especially for part-time elected officials. And yes, it's time to actually start managing. This city not just put together another committee, streamline, restructure it, eliminate the efficiency once and for all. The people of Laredo are watching more closely than ever, and they're tired. Tired of excuses, tired of political posturing, tired of being asked to pay more for a system that continues to give them less. This bond wasn't just a defeat. It was publicly and emphatically buried. The level of rejection should spark a reflection of humility and the course of correction, not stubbornness and petty antics. Trust me, if the people had their say in discretionary funds, in your pensions, or in your salaries, not a single one of you would have gotten a raise. And that's how disconnected this body has become from the community it claims to serve. Laredo deserves more than what it's getting. And if this council refuses to change, the people will continue to show up. At the ballot box, in public comments, and in every space where the voices have been ignored. Porque aquí estamos y no nos damos.
Mr. Avila, I'm sure you're gonna echo his sentiments.
Yes, ma'am, but I would like my time, please. Is there a way we can put this up, please? Good evening, Mayor Pro Temps, council members. It's a pleasure to be here in front of y'all. My name for the record, Juan Avila, a citizen here of Webb County, taxpayer of Webb County as well.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I want to say very quietly, very, very professional, like Mr. Councilman Rangel that said, sin maldiciones, I will never do that. But I will say this. I want to know how each and one of y'all felt after these numbers came up right away. What was your feeling behind it? The way you got, and I'm not saying anything bad, but we got slapped. We got slapped because look at the numbers, how they counted. 80% said no to every single one of them. You could say, this crazy man don't know anything. Well, let me tell y'all something. We've come back from Mr. Garza's, Councilman Garza's backtrack, the old viejo cañoneros, the old style, the old patron, the old thing like that. He knows what I'm talking about because we walked the streets prior. We walked the streets with you, Mr. Garza. We walked the streets with every single one of you, mostly here. That's what you should have done. You should have walked the streets and showed us what was the purpose of this bond? When I came up here twice, people came up here and told you, hold on to it. We're not ready. Hold on. Let's look at other ways of attending it to it. I would have been the first person with y'all because I believe that our police chief, he needs a new place. Fire department, they need a new place. But it was not the proper way. You try to give us a, well, you can make faces, but that's okay. You know, the thing is that we were not ready. You were not ready. And you still won't be ready. You won't. You need to reconstruct. And I will say this, and I will echo my words and mark my words. The only council person up there in those seats that was ready to be with the people, for the people of Laredo, para Laredo, was Councilman Elisa Cigarroa. And I commend you for that. I applaud you for that. Because you were the only one that stood up and said, we are not ready. And she was. But she was ready to stand up with the community. Not for an ego. And not to say, oh, we're going to do it. We're going to sell it because we got this. Laredo doesn't care. Guess what? We already woke up. We have waken up and our eyes are open. And our eyes are going to be watching every single move of money that y'all make within your district. I guarantee you that. The first thing y'all need to do is worry about the water infrastructure. We've had mayors, we've had councilmen, we have everybody promises and promises. And up to this date, it has not been done. And con todo respeto, de Laredo, para Laredo, nacido en Laredo, criado en Laredo, estudiado en Laredo y para la gente de Laredo. Buenas tardes a todos.
Thank you. We have Victor Trevino Jr.
Hi, good evening. Victor Trevino for the record. Honorable Council, Mayor Pro Tem, City Management, I want to commend you for engaging the public this way. As you know, we just had a bond election, and it was a bond election where the people came and spoke, but it was also an opportunity to see that 5% of the voting electorate came out to vote. 5%. That means that it's an opportunity to reflect on engaging the public, things that we could do better. And it's not because people don't care about fire, people don't care about police, people don't care about health. They do. They absolutely do. But we're living in times of volatility. We're living in times of uncertainty. And you know, some of the things that could be learned from this election is how do we come up with solutions? Because it's very easy to be against something. It's very difficult to come up with solutions because that's where leadership comes from. And that's the core of what you have to learn from this election. How do you come up with solutions to these problems we have? It may not be with this bond election, but certainly it can come through you guys coming together and not falling into the temptation of attacking each other. Because ultimately, the only way you guys are going to cross the finish line is together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have communications. Don't have anything under communications, so we will move on to appointments to commissions, boards, and committees.
Motion to approve the appointments to committees.
Motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
both the supplemental and the under regular agenda.
So item appointments 712 and from supplemental 111. Okay. Public hearing and introductory ordinance. We'll go ahead and open those items 1 and 2. Who's gonna read the introductory ordinances? Mr. Secretary? Oh, Joaquin?
You only have two. We should be okay.
Number one, public hearing introductory ordinance of the City of Laredo, Texas, amending City of Laredo's fiscal year 2025 annual budget by appropriating revenues and expenses in the amount of $2,294,495 in the sewer system fund of 2020 sewer revenue bond. The interest earnings being appropriated are of the arbitrage liability payment due to the U.S. Treasury. Number 2, public hearing is free order of the City Council of the City of Laredo, Texas, ordaining in the city's participation in the Texas Enterprise Zone program pursuant to the Texas Enterprise Zone Act, Chapter 2303, Texas Government Code, providing tax incentive, designating a liaison for communication with interested parties, and nominating Killam Development LTD, Project Ignite, to the Office of the Governor, Economic Development and Tourism through the Economic Development Bank Enterprise Project.
Thank you. For item 1, is anyone here to speak for or against? For or against? For or against?
Motion to close and introduce.
Mayor Pro Tem, I have a question.
Okay, yes, Councilman?
Mr. Nguyen, would you be able to explain to the public what an arbitrage liability payment is, with an understanding that this money is not coming out of the general fund, that it comes from a different source? For, oh, I made the assumption. Public hearing number 1.
Public hearing 1.
I apologize, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Mr. Nguyen. Mr. Mata.
Mr. Mata, can you
Just an explanation, because it is a large amount, but
Yes,
so the
hi.
public can understand where it comes from.
Good evening, council members, Mayor Pro Tem. Francisco Mata, Director of Finance, for the record. Yes, and this is similar to the arbitrage. We brought a few council meetings before that after the third year, anything that we make on interest earnings after the initial yield, that the average is about 0.38, anything over that past the 3 years, we have to return it back to the IRS, those earnings. So this is not any losses, these are just funds that were earned on those bonds.
So the original source was a sewer bond, a bond that was that was solicited for sewer improvements in the system, and because the money wasn't spent down within those 3 years, it earned interest, and now we have to refund that interest to the U.S. Treasury.
Correct. Any earnings past the third year, after the average yield that we have on that bond. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Motion, is there a
I
motion to
take it
close?
the idea is so you don't borrow money for one thing, hold it, make money for something other than what's intended. That's all.
Right, because, I mean, we push that out, the bond is something that all those bond monies can only be spent on the item that the original bond was put out for.
Correct.
So you can't absorb any money from it into our budget.
Correct.
Thank you.
Motion to close and introduce.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Item 2, is anyone here to speak for or against? For or against? For or against?
Motion to close and introduce.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Mayor, I'd like the motion to accept and approve the final reading of ordinances 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Motion second. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion passes. We have consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda minus any items you all want to withdraw?
Minus 13 and 30, please.
13, 30. 30 is going to be tabled, if I'm not mistaken. Is that from the city?
Yeah, 30,
From staff?
minus 30.
We'll take out 13 and 30, and then we'll deal with it when we get there. And any others? Yes?
Number 7, on item number 17, instead of 2 years, it should be 1 year.
We'll deal with it when we get to that one. Okay, 13, 17, and 30. Any others to pull out? Okay, so motion to accept consent agenda minus those 3 items. Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Item 13. Who wanted item 13? Councilmember Seager?
Yes, so.
We don't need to read it, I don't think, right? You could just comment on it?
I think the importance here is that not everyone is following along. That's why I prefer to read it to give an idea of what the question will be. 13 is authorizing the city manager to execute a donation agreement and any related documents to accept 5 parcels from Acuerdo Limited, subject to the review of title communities. Said parcels being 1, Lot 22, Block 6, 2, Lot 7, Block 9, 3, Lot 44, Block 9, 4, Lot 45, Block 9, 5, Lot 99, Block 9, and all are listed as unbuildable, with one being uninhabitable. Said parcels being in the city of Laredo as per plat recorded in Webb County plat records. Each parcel has a total value of $10. The properties will be used for municipal purposes. The parcels will be maintained by the city of Laredo. And Ms. Martinez, I was just wondering, I did review the map and saw these parcels located in different areas of the neighborhood, and I was wondering for what purpose the city of Laredo intended to use them.
Mayor, point of order, Mr. Wen, I don't know if it's appropriate to discuss like land. This is probably a land issue that we should probably talk about in executive session to address that question.
If it's related to negotiations?
It's a donation.
What's
The purpose of it.
If there's some negotiated items that we need to discuss in the closed session, we should take it back.
I think we should take this one to executive session to discuss.
So we'll move it for executive
So
session.
I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss the purpose of this land transaction.
Do you want to go ahead and address the other items in executive session as well? They should be pretty short, to be honest.
Or we can wait till executive,
Yeah.
so we'll pull this one in with executive session. Okay. So we'll put this one on hold for right now. We'll table this one. So can we get a motion just to table until?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item 17.
Mayor Pro
You have
Tem,
an amendment?
Mayor Pro Tem, number 17 needs to be amended to read 1 year instead of 2 years.
Can I get a motion to accept as amended?
Motion to approve as amended.
Second? Motion? Second? Is that it?
Number 18 needs to be tabled.
Okay, we'll get to that one in a minute. Okay, 17, motion to approve as amended. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Neb, did you want to comment on something?
On 30.
Okay. So 30 was the other one. Can I get a motion to pull out?
Mayor Pro Tem. Mayor Pro Tem, number 18 needs to be tabled.
But we didn't pull that one out, so
I'll
let's,
move to bring back item number 18.
okay, motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
And then I'll move to table item number 18.
Motion to table, second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item is 30.
Mayor Pro Tem, we would like to have this one tabled. We still have 5 outstanding items within the agreement that we have not agreed to.
Second.
Motion to table and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Okay, so that takes us through consent agenda. We have staff reports. Would the council like to enter an executive session or follow staff reports first? Okay, so we'll do staff reports, item 35, please.
Mayor, that one needs to be tabled also.
Item 35?
Motion to table number 35.
Okay, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Item 36.
Mayor Pro Tem, the auditors are not in the building. Finance director reached out to them they were at the last meeting, waited till the very end. So
Will
Frank's
they
gonna
be
call
here
them.
tonight?
They're gonna, yeah, they'll be here shortly.
Okay, well, we'll make a motion to table this item for now until, we get back. Okay, motion to table.
Second.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Item 37. Who's here for 37?
Good evening, Jesus Esparza with the Budget Department. Let me add the slide for, tonight presenting is Mr. James Smith, sorry.
We're dancing here.
He's a general manager for the Sames Auto Arena.
With
So-
ASM Global.
Name for the record again?
James Smith,
Okay, and company?
ASM Global.
Okay. Is this something we've seen before, or is this a new project? Because I think we,
Yes, a little bit of background on this. During the budget workshop, we did have a presentation from Cavazos Architects as to the 5-year plan for the Sames Auto Arena renovation and repairs. There was a motion made by Councilman Albert Torres, second by Ruben,
as to accept the city manager's recommendation to do this project in-house within a 5-year project. So we are, this current year has some allocation for some of the items that we're taking care of. And Mr. Smith's gonna cover that and the 5 years that are coming on our projection for the repairs and improvements.
Mr. Esparza? Or Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Let me ask a question.
Yes.
What year was that, by the way?
Budget?
What year was that the motion was made? By-
August, this last August.
It was this past August?
Yes, in the workshop.
Good afternoon, everybody. In the first of the pre-phase of the 2025, there's a few critical items that we would like to point out that are critical to the operation and overall efficiency of the Sames Auto Arena. All three items that are on this list right here, the HVAC chiller and control upgrades, a replacement of the current HVAC system, a permanent seating replacement, as well as the dashboard system. This is all original equipment at Sames Auto Arena. We currently on the HVAC system, we have increased maintenance costs currently to keep this unit operational. We are continuously troubleshooting this system so that we avoid any failures before, during, or after any events. Obviously, you can imagine if there was any type of failure with the HVAC system during or before an event, it would cause a complete cancellation, and that's why we're asking for the approval for these funds to be able to replace this system at this time. The seating replacement, once again, this is original equipment from the manufacturer, 23 years old. We currently do not have repair parts that are available for these seats. They're no longer available just to the age that the seats are. We have currently a little bit over 150 seats that are currently not able to be used for every event due to either the breakage or the liability of potential breakage with some seats. We have these, we just continuously replace and mend and fix. The dashboard system, this is a system that's used, it's for the proper seating of a concert for our venue. As you can see, we have to mend that. We have to weld different parts on it in order to install it safely. The footings are broke out from underneath it, so we have to improvise that with wood and brick and different things in order to be able to make sure that it is in a safe installed manner for the events. Going into phase 1 of 2026 and working with Mr. Jesus, we separated the different categories into what we felt were more repairs that were needed instead of more of cosmetic items. So stepping into 2026 for the capital improvements, renovate the showers and restrooms and locker areas. This will enable us to offer a better environment for artists that come in. This will offer us a better opportunity to showcase the arena, attract more and better events into the arena. Repair building envelope. This is a measure that's needed to seal the venue where we currently have a numerous number of leaks. We have water seeping in through the outside brick of the arena due to I believe I don't have the exact date of when that was last done, but we are constantly repairing and fixing the roof, ceiling tiles, all that from where water seeps in the venue as well. Renovate Star Suites. This correlates with the renovate shower and restrooms in the locker areas. Convert storage room to catering room. Currently, for our crew and artist catering, we have to do it completely on the other side of the building, so we're trying to offer a more cohesive environment for artists and promoters that come into the environment to be able to exist backstage. Create VIP areas in existing meeting rooms. This is critical for what we are going to be working towards for a larger increase of private events, which will overall increase more revenue for the venue. Currently, those rooms are not allowing us to do that just because of the state and the shape of and the age that they're in. So we're currently working towards trying to upgrade those VIP areas. Redesign temporary bars on concourse level. This is a direct correlation to the revenue we'd like to increase with the food and beverage sales. We'd like to offer more products, a more appealing bar, more appealing concessions that are able to be portable and moved into the concourse area. Phase 2, 2027, provide chair lifts at stairwells for ADA access to permanent seating and revised slabs for new ADA seating. We currently have a system where we kind of really band-aid the ADA seating to make sure we're compliant at this time. These two items would allow us to move the ADA clients, patrons, into those seats far more easier and free up more sellable seats that would normally be sold to patrons that are non-ADA patrons and increase our overall seating capacity for an event. Gut and redesigned concourse restrooms. This is just something that we, once again, due to the original plumbing, the original fixtures that are in there, we're constantly repairing and mending these fixtures that are in the restrooms. This will just allow us to streamline and avoid such high repair cost. Parking lot improvements. This is just something that comes with age as far as striping and parking lot maintenance. Storm sewer improvements, stormwater pollution plan. That, once again, it's just to correlate repairs that are needed on a timely manner to keep those in line. I believe the rest of these miscellaneous site improvements, signage, striping, traffic control, and repair of the gypsum walls and the ceilings. The repair of the gypsum wall and the ceilings correlates back to the ceiling of the building. Once we have those leaks fixed, and we're not having to continuously fix those, and that'll allow us to fix those and be able to move forward. 2028, replace fire alarm system, maintenance on electrical gear, painting the railings inside the bowl, replacement of new speakers, distributed sound system design. These are, everything that's on this list are just normal upgrades and that would replace equipment that is old and timed out and needs to be replaced for effective operation of the arena. 2029 capital improvements, climate controlled storage warehouse. We're currently very challenged on warehouse space. We have talked with budget about revising that item and building, if it was approved, to have a building that was not climate controlled at the time to reduce the overall cost at that time, and then later outfit it to be climate controlled. There are certain items that we have that belong to the city, such as a basketball court, different items. Those cannot be stored outside. They cannot be stored in portable containers because the heat, humidity, everything like that will damage those and they'll be unusable at that point. Video production, broadcast, cabling, everything that's the rest of this list here, those are once again replacing items that would at that time be outdated and would be critical to the operation of the arena. Phase 5, this is where we shifted things back towards more of cosmetic looks of the venue and not more of the needs of the repairs and for the basic operation. All of these would be things like renovate the suite boxes on the club level, new side entrance vestibules, club level circulation area, redesigning the club of the circulation of the concourse, interior and exterior lighting, site lighting, rear stage wall perforation panels that are needed for proper sound. Those have all been pushed the request into 2030. This is just a list of some of our partners that we use to bring in, promoters that we use to bring in events. This list is not an entire list. Our biggest ones usually are Live Nation, CMN, which bring most of our events to us. We have Monster Trucks who we work with for, Hot Wheels Monster Trucks, we work for our family events. Feld Entertainment, which brings Disney on Ice. I was just in LA recently. I met with Hot Wheels, I met with Feld Entertainment, I met with Live Nation. All of them asked me the same question, when we were going to make some certain upgrades to the arena, when the seating was going to be replaced, and when we were going to have certain aspects of the ceiling replaced and fixed and be able to move forward from there. That's all I have at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Swanson, can you, advised us on this situation. I remember we saw the presentation with pictures and everything on the needs. So now you're coming to us with the presentation and you're seeking action from us today?
That is correct. I have a detailed spreadsheet that has the cost per year. I can go through it, or I can just summarize the totals for you if you wish. So for example, the pre-phase, what we're calling the pre-phase, were items that we already had that we were working on, which covers the HVAC, the HVAC system. The total that we have for the first year is approximately $11 million. Out of that, we already have that appropriated in the current budget. So for that, we would just need a direction to go ahead and proceed with the pre-phase, which we already have most of those contracts with the design work in progress, and we also have the budget for that in year one.
Okay, hold on.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may,
Yes,
Mr.
sure,
Person.
absolutely.
Where's that $11 million coming from?
Most of it is coming from the Sames Auto Arena, and I have a Sames Auto sports venue forecast that I want to show as well. I can go directly into that one, or I can go.
Yes, I'd rather just start seeing the numbers then.
Perfect.
Than just summaries.
Try to make this a little bit bigger.
We do.
Can we, Mayor Pro Tem, can we get a copy of this?
Sure. You want me to get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, can we get a copy? But also, we do have an item on the agenda regarding the sports venue, and since we're talking about that, I think it would probably be good to bring that item up at the same time. Councilmember King's item,
48.
so we'll make a motion to bring that item up at the same time, 40A2.
Make a motion to bring the 48 to.
Motion second. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion passes. So we'll continue to address Councilman Rangel's concerns, but then,
We're making the copies as we speak. If we can bring it up, I can kind of go over it with you right now so we can see some of those
Councilman
numbers.
Rangel, I will have him proceed with answering your questions without the copies.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, this is a sports and community venue. Sorry, this is the debt service. This is a summary. Just try to make it a little bit bigger so you can see it better. This is the sports and community venue sales tax fund. The column E on the left side has the amended budget. The total revenues that we receive in the sports community fund, which is the sales tax, is approximately $14.9 million. That's what we receive coming in from sales tax. Our beginning fund balance that we had at the beginning of the year is $32.2 million. That brings our total available to $48.2 million as the amended 24-25 budget. Then as we look at the different transfer outs that we have the operations is $2.9 million. This is the operations for Sames, the sports and community venue. Then we have the different transfer outs that we have to the different entities that the sports community venue supports. We have a transfer to cover operations for the Unitrade, which is approximately $1 million. We have the Sames Auto Arena transfer to cover operations, 1.6. And then we have the sports and community venue debt service of 4.9. So we have transfer outs of 7.2 million on the amended budget. Then as we also have in this fund, we have the maintenance and the renew and replacement fund that we use to address any repairs or remodelings or anything that the buildings themselves need. In here, we have the Sames Auto Arena replacement, which are the 12 million that we're talking about, the pre-phase, which is this 12 million that we have here. In the current phases that Mr. Smith talked about, we're forecasting the next 5 years. So in there, we have 6.4 for year one projected, 4.4 for the 27 fiscal year, 5.6 for fiscal year 28, fiscal year 29, 16 million, and then the final fiscal year 30, we have 12.9 million projected in repairs. In total, this is approximately $45 million of repairs and renovations to the Sames Auto Arena.
We also have some other items that we maintain as well. We have some tentative numbers, projections, anything from 26 to 20 to 30 is projected numbers that we're considering. So we have 150,000 for the Buena Vista. This is after it gets constructed. Any repairs that are needed are gonna be coming out of this account. We also have one for Unitrade. We budget approximately 400,000 every year for any repairs that are needed. The Buena Vista operations, we had some money set aside for the initial kickoff. We haven't touched any of that money. We have approximately 119,000. And then we have the TAMU Sports Complex is no longer, you can see that it has already been open at TAMU, so we're no longer part of that. It's no longer supported by the sports and community venue tax. So as we project here, at the end of September, ending September, we're gonna have approximately $24 million in there. As we move forward in fiscal year 26, that fund balance goes to 24, followed by 26, 27 million, 18 million, and by the end of fiscal year 30, we're anticipating that fund balance is gonna be approximately 12.9 million.
Okay, Councilmember King, thank you. Councilmember Rangel, did you have any other questions on this? So, Councilmember King?
Thank you, Mayor President. This is kind of the reason why I wanted to bring this item up is, or in the first place, is because every time we've talked about the sports venue revenue, it's pretty much been in the moment of a crisis. It's been in the moment of, oh, hey, the price of the Buena Vista Sports Complex went up. We got to come in and talk about it, and please give us the money. And okay, yes, it's now or never. Okay, and what we really haven't had like a lot since I've been on council anyway. The two years of the five of us since we've been elected. So basically, and this might have been presented to us during budget, but it's always been kind of rushed. This section in particular, but. Yeah, my hope, and then this is just the summary. You also had a debt slide up there. If you can go back to the debt section, this debt tab, because that one's not on this part. Because you mentioned, we're paying $4.5 million of debt service projected, but also I noticed you're not projecting any enhanced revenues.
No.
You're just projecting, a very mild increase in revenues over the next 5 years.
And I actually need to, probably, that is a reduction, and that forecast, it should be a reduction, because we're paying off the debt. We don't anticipate selling any more debt for any of the remodelings that we're discussing. We're gonna be paying as we go. One of the reasons that was decided during the budget workshop when Mr. Net mentioned that was because we don't wanna affect operations. So we're trying to phase in some of the remodelings and not necessarily impact the revenues for the James Auto Arena. So, like I mentioned, the sports and community venue funds the debt service, which is one of them. It funds the James Auto Arena, Unitrade as well, and pretty soon the Buena Vista baseball complex.
Councilmember King?
But won't there be more revenues from things like the sports complex, you have some mild increases in revenues, like, almost 15 million, basically just a 1 million revenue increase over the next 5 years.
We're conservative on the revenues, on the forecast. We're especially very conservative on the revenues. So we're projecting about 2% increase in revenues for the sales tax revenue that comes in. But part of that money is being used, if you can see here, for example, in the total revenues that we have is $15 million coming in, but we're gonna be spending those 15 as we move forward in our remodeling. We're spending 15, 13, so we're trying to keep up with the revenue so that we don't impact the fund balance as much.
Why the big jump you have in fiscal year 28, 29? It goes from 10 million additional expenditures from 14 to 25 million.
Yes, that's where we have some of the renovations that we have that Mr. Smith mentioned. Some of the remodeling or redoing of the lights and things like that, which we're pushing them to the last 2 years. We're trying to take care of the first 3 years. We're trying to take care of everything that needs fixing, repairing, or needs to be addressed, and that's why we're addressing year one is the AC system, is one of the ones that we're addressing right now.
And all this money and the total transfer out, that's money that's already been, we've already borrowed?
That's money, that's money that we have that is being generated as we move forward in the years.
Okay, so
We have
this
the
is not
projected revenues and the projected expenses for the next 5 years.
And can you go to the debt? Can you go to the debt? Okay, sorry.
Mr. Esparza, just a question. So what you need today is just a motion to proceed for the first year, correct?
What we need is, we want to,
Not for its entirety.
as we start, we're also, for example, this year, we're going to be designing the work that needs to be done next year. So if we need the first year that we're having, and we also want some direction as to, do we proceed in this plans for the projected repairs for the next 4
Right, but if this council were to approve this right now, it's only approving the first and second year, not its entirety to 2030. Is that correct? Because you're gonna need to come back to us 2 years later, or a year and a half later, and let us know.
Yeah, we will
need
be
this
coming back
funding
and
now.
updating as we go. For example, one of the items that was talked about is the warehouse that we have. That's one of, right now we have it on year 5, but we want to try to see if we can move that closer to year 3 or maybe 2, because there's a lot of items out there right now in the back that are exposed to the elements that need to be protected as well, so.
Right, but right now, these repairs are needed.
Yes,
This is not,
that
I
is-
mean, you'll put them in perspective as how they were needed.
Yes, what's gonna happen is when we come with a budget in August, we're gonna have now the budget for fiscal year 26 in there. We'll come in and say, okay, this is what we have. We might adjust one of these items, push it out, bring something in there, and you will have the ability to approve that next year's budget with whatever we have here. What we wanted to show here is a forecast showing that we can do the 5-year improvements or projects within the revenue sources that we have from the sales tax.
Right. I'd like to make a motion to direct to proceed.
We have a motion and a second. We have Councilman Rangel next to make a comment.
So my question is, thank you, Madam President. My question is this, the ASM also including the unit trade?
Yes.
Is there any improvements in the unit trade that are gonna come from the same pot of money?
Yes.
Or do you have those numbers?
Right now, we haven't a lot, we have a projected 400,000 every year for any repairs that are needed for unit trade.
I'm sorry?
400,000.
400,000.
Yes.
If they're needed.
If they're needed, correct.
But they're already allocated for that, just in case, right?
Well, the only thing that's allocated right now is what we have in the current year. That's already appropriated. The projections are just projected numbers. Next year, when we do the budget for 26, we'll come back to you and say, when we sit down with ASM and we say what else needs to be, if they have an item in there that is a large ticket item that we cannot afford, we'll come back to you and say, we don't need 400, we might need 600 or 800.
So, let me ask you a question, I might sound, but I've never seen this. Whatever we don't use from the unit trade, is it any possible that we can use it for the arena?
Yes, anything that
Is that what we're doing, or?
Yeah, everything comes out of the sports venue tax fund itself. When we budget, for example, and that's an excellent point that I want to bring out. For example, when we budget $1.6 million for Sames Out Arena, if they make more money, if their subsidy is not needed, it stays in the sports venue fund. So we might have budgeted 1.6, but they have normally taken less than what we budget for. So, and that stays in sports venue, that we can, it goes straight to the fund balance and we can reappropriate it in the following year.
Councilman Garza?
Yes, I guess just to tidy it up for me a little bit, the numbers are not the issue that I'm concerned about or looking at. But I do want to know that if we're proposing these revenues that are gonna come in over the years, that we also have a game plan ready as to how we're gonna use all of these venues that the events that are coming, are we gonna increase that and put everything together in a package that tells me, okay, these are expenditures, this is how much revenue tax we're gonna, or sports venue tax we're gonna receive. And is this by using the venues at 50% capacity, 75% capacity, or at 100% capacity? It seems to me that they're not being used at 100% capacity. In other words, they're not being used 365 days a year. And in my mind, that if we're gonna continue to have these type of renovations, we have to make it up. If we're gonna spend that money, we have to figure out how we're gonna make it up, not just say that we're gonna have these conservative figures as revenue comes in. But I wanna see if we can ramp it up in the usage and have every event possible out there that's gonna optimize our return.
And that's an excellent point, Councilmember, since we do have our regional director here, so he can get some direction from council as to what is expected of the management company. I have conversations with them as it relates to the budget, repairs, but any direction to them as to what we expect to them would be very prudent on our part to let them know.
I think it'll show the public that, a lot of times people see this as not a moneymaker, but it's a quality of life thing, and therefore people just give in and say that it's gonna lose money or it's not gonna make as much money, and people are okay with that. I'm not okay with that. I think those are diamonds in the rough right now. I think we can that have potential of being used a lot more than what they're being used right now. And we really collectively have to put our heads together to optimize the usage of those facilities in order that that revenue fund can go up.
And I was having a conversation with Mr. Smith today. We are planning to have some meetings next week as well. And that's one of the things that I'm gonna be looking at is the revenues that they bring in. We need to revisit those revenues and see if we're, seeing if we're getting what we need to.
I think more importantly, I think this is a golden opportunity to venture out into the public sector, because there are people out there that obviously might know something more about, let's say, the unit trade field, that might know more about how to use it or how to bring in or attract more usage for it than we know from within. But it'd be a good idea to get those answers from the public and see what they want and partner up with the public sector on that.
Councilmember Melissa Cigarron.
Thank you. Well, in addition to what Councilmember Garza was saying, I think it is partly a reflection of this budget and how willing we are to spend money to upgrade the facility, because if we do intend for it to attract, as Councilmember Garza was, to be competitive in attracting shows and other events, then it does have to be a worthy of attracting all of these new shows, these new events. And I think that perhaps if there's some adjustment to the budget, as in if the climate storage warehouse is incredibly important, not only for future use and to assure the shows coming in that we have a place to store what needs to be stored properly, but also to protect city assets, so that we are not in a couple of years going to find out, as we did with Unitrade, that some of the items that we'd invested for the benefit of the arena were then not used well, not stored well, and ended up costing us more money. So if the climate storage warehouse is a critical item, then I would like to see that be pushed forward. Because it does look like, I don't mean to step on your financial planning, and I am in no position to do so, but it does seem as if there are monies available that could be used right now. Prices are cheaper. I mean, we ran into this with the discussion about the bond, right? If we have needs and prices are cheaper now, then waiting doesn't always do us a service. So if that climate control store warehouse is one of those items that needs to be pushed, I would like a proposal for that to come to us.
The climate warehouse that we're talking about, the estimated cost that we had is about $11 million. But in talking to engineering and Mr. Smith, what we're trying to do is maybe have a shade structure first, so then we can close it out and then come in with the air conditioning. And that has been a conversation we had last week. We started thinking about that. So we as we approved the pre-phase, which is what you all are approving today, we can come back and amend year one and get an estimate for that and come back and say, okay, we can get it done or started with 3 million or 4 million, whatever that estimate is, and we can start doing it, because we do believe that is an important item that is needed to protect the assets that we have, and it goes along with what we're looking at this year, as Mr. Net mentioned. We need to take care of our buildings. Our buildings have been loved to death. This is not an exception as well. So definitely it's something that if we have the approval to move forward with that, we can come back and readjust that into phase one.
And I think you can see that new direction with the $400,000 that's been dedicated to the Unitrike. It's when we just invested $8 million, but we do have a fund now so that the repairs, the ongoing maintenance, there won't be a scramble. There will be a fund so that management can take care of those issues as they come up.
And we do, when we have the budget meetings with the different, with ASM, we do earmark what we intend to use those monies for. So they do give us a breakdown, we're gonna be doing A, B, or C. And that's how we were able to budget last year for the AC, air conditioning system. And so we are trying to address we are addressing some of the issues that they need repairs.
Thank you, sir.
Councilmember King?
Sorry, yeah, Mayor Pro Tem. So my question is, this, the $12 million for Sames Auto Arena for this fiscal year, like, we're in the month of May of '25, over halfway through this fiscal year. Why are we just now moving forward with this?
No, we have been working since the beginning of the fiscal year with the, engineering can probably provide you a little bit more detail on that. They've been working with the AC, they've been doing the design. One of the items that we have in there for this year also, and Mr. Smith, I don't believe he mentioned, that was the generators. We do have the transfer switches. One of the work that is being done as well is the designing or looking at the capacity of the generators that we need for that. In conjunction with the HVAC system, we need to redesign so that we have enough space for those generators that are going to be in. So this has been working process since we began the fiscal
How
year.
quickly after tonight will things start moving?
We should. We are trying to get a timeline because that was my point, Councilman King, as to the appropriation that we had this year. So if the timeline does not fit within our fiscal year, we'll probably come back and reshuffle some of those monies that we already have appropriate to some other projects that we can get done by the end of the year.
Thank you. I think that, this just goes to show, that there's maintenance and operation, there's maintenance required on these buildings, and some of this maintenance has been deferred for a long time, and now we're at a point where it has to be done, so and it's good that you're bringing us a plan where we can do it within the monies that we have. Obviously, there was requests to fund that storage, so Councilman Gutierrez made a motion to approve. There was a second, so I'm going to take the vote for that, and then if there's another motion that needs to be made, we'll take that one second. So there's a motion to approve the first year, correct? Can you repeat the motion, Mr. Magdalene?
Motion that was made to direct to proceed as mentioned, as discussed.
So there was a second?
And we need a second.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Also like to entertain the motion by Councilmember Cigarroa to bring us back a plan with options on how we can get the storage of our items sooner than later. So maybe we can look at different opportunities. If there's a storage unit that we can work with that's currently can store these things. If not, if we need to build it, give us options instead of just the most expensive one, one option that there
I'll
is.
second that motion.
So we'll have that motion second. All in favor
I
for
just may-
that one? Yes.
Point of order, just to clarify what my statements were, it is for it to be driven by what the needs are and the priorities are of the project.
Right.
Thank you.
Just to bring it back as the viability, and we can decide on it at that time. Councilman King, you have a comment?
Thank you. Thank you. Pay attention to the thing.
I'm looking at it. I have it here.
This is just a request. If we could get the spreadsheet you have there, email. Sure. Still didn't get to see the debt slide tab. That's okay. And then the presentation from Mr. Smith, if that could be emailed, because that was very helpful. Thank you.
We also have the initial Cavazos Architects assessment. We'll go ahead and email that to everybody so they can have it. It's like a 97-page on everything that was assessed and looked at.
Please, Councilmember Lisa Cigarroa.
Thank you. This is a question for management on if we've been, because I know we have the bill that's being presented at the state for legislation for the sports venue tax. Just wondering if there's any news on that, and will there be a broader conversation if it fails? Just the future of this fund balance, because here we're just continue spending the money. Obviously, these are maintenance and operation costs that need to be addressed, but just in the bigger picture of the sports venue tax fund.
Zone, are we allowed to discuss the House bill during Councilmember King's item?
Are we gonna have a broader conversation about the sports venue tax?
The answer to that question is yes, of course we will. I expect we're going to have those conversations with as the agreement comes forward with this company as to what our recommendation will be for the operation of it as well. And then, of course, just understanding exactly how that complex has to work within our system. So all of that information, that'll be all part of our budget conversations as well too, so we can make sure that that gets done.
Thank you, Mr. Lam. Just point of order, Council, I realized that there was a consent agenda item on the supplemental, so I'd like to make or entertain a motion to bring that consent agenda item up before we go to executive session. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, okay. We had a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes. Very good. Okay, so can we get a motion to bring up supplemental item consent agenda item 1?
Motion.
Second.
Motion,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Let's bring that up. And we do have a comment here from public comment. Ms. Ramos, we're gonna hear the public comment first. Okay. Richard Rosas, please.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, again, the supplemental item was just called again. Appreciate the support year in and year out. We're a proven record for what we're doing. And obviously, I know the complex was tabled, but I'll be back with that being said, with that complex, because we definitely gonna turn heads when that complex opens. I can assure you that. So again, thank you for your support and working with parks and CVB and everything that goes behind the scenes. JJ's done a phenomenal job, even though I know a lot of people out there, they get criticized for the parks and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, they get the job done.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Eileen?
Before Ms. Ramos continues, Mayor, may I?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item number 1 on the consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Ramos?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. Eileen Ramos, Convention and Visitors Bureau, for the record. We are bringing the item of the sponsorship for Pony League. Just to give you a brief recap of last year, we had, Pony had total expenses of $129,514. They received from the city of Laredo, from hotel occupancy tax, $90,000. Total amount of money that they received from the city, including, I apologize, including in-kind. I wanna just have it out here.
Well, Ms. Ramos, this is a long-standing partnership, and it
Yes.
seems like there's support from the council. So I think at this time, ask anybody on council that has any specific questions to address. If not, there's a motion to approve.
We want to make sure, just to specify that the $90,000 are given from hotel occupancy tax. There is a recommendation that in the future that money comes from also general fund, more than hotel occupancy tax, since the return on the investment is more on the general fund rather than the.
Mayor Pro Tem, the challenge we have is that the hotel occupancy tax has to meet back to putting heads in beds. Last year, when Pony League, with their tournament last year, the intent was to split that $90,000, bring out what they committed for the people for the heads and beds, and that would be paid out of the hotel occupancy. The other funds would come out of the general fund or the sports venue taxes is where I would recommend it coming from, because it is an organizational event that comes for sports. And so the idea was is that because of the requirements for the hotel occupancy tax, that it has to put heads in beds, we are recommending that $90,000 will be split between those two funds in order to cover the financial bit. And then, of course, the in-kind services, the challenge we have always working, or not the challenge, our within our commitment with working with the Pony League and our partnership, we are actually, I guess, challenging them to increase the amount of sponsorships they receive, because out of the funds that they did bring in from last year, we were about $25,000 short of a break-even point. And so we'd ask them to work a little bit harder on trying to balance that out. We'll work with them on the in-kind side and help through these two these tournaments that they have coming in there. So that's just the background on it. But it is our recommendation that we manage the $90,000. Just know that it may come out of two pots.
I have council members, Melissa Cigarroa next, and then you, Councilman.
So, thank you, Mr. Neb. I would like to see that conversation, because I think it's an important conversation, occur right after the event. Because I know sometimes this has been a slow start, and then we are ending up agreeing to things because of the time frame,
Right.
and we're not allowed enough time to also assist in a more broader way. And so I would like those conversations to start right after that tournament. So
Yes, thank you. And I know that we have heard that based upon the number of out-of-town teams coming in, we are excited about this year, that I think it's going to work really well. So if we can get all those people into a room in Laredo, we're going to be in good shape.
And
Yeah,
will,
ma'am,
just,
I'm sorry.
will it be at the sports complex, the new sports complex?
I believe that's the intent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may.
Yes.
So, Pony League has brought a lot of, heads and beds. I know there's some issues sometimes, but things happen, Right now, what I'm seeing is that, hoping that we have this sports complex, it's gonna change, the outcome for all. A lot of tournaments coming in Laredo. So, hopefully we can go reach out. I think they're gonna bring a lot, but having somebody that's done it before and guiding them, I think it's gonna help us a lot. So, starting out with Pony League on, hopefully in July, if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna make a starting point. So that, and letting people know that we have good fields and good tournaments. So hopefully that's a starting point, and that will help with that, the revenue that's coming in.
Absolutely, Councilmember. Just to let you know, we do have a person dedicated in our staff for sports. Fidel Hale is our sales coordinator, who's 100% dedicated to bring sports tournaments to the community, and he's in contact with parks. We're really excited about the sports complex. He's already been talking about the sports complex in conferences and trade shows the last few months, and so we're really excited about giving him another good product to promote.
Okay, council members.
Just one last question. And Ms. Ramos, perhaps this is better for Coach Gomez. That is actually a serious question. Where will this tournament take place? Because if it's maybe, I did think that the complex was going to be ready to host this tournament in July. It was going to be open by June. So what can you tell us about the state of when the opening will be and the likelihood that this tournament will occur there?
So I guess this is a combination of questions with Ramon and everyone. So, do you want to?
No, I was just gonna mention, Mayor Pro Temp, if I may.
Yes.
If you'd like, we can have a presentation by the architects, I think, next meeting, and to let us know more of a timetable. Line Decker is trying to move on it as quickly as possible, especially now that we have this tournament coming up in July. We wanna make sure it's 10 pods, so we wanna make sure that at least the 5 are good to go. Yeah, because of some delays that they've had, but not very many, but we can have a better timeline for you at the next meeting if you allow us to do that.
So the motion to approve was not contingent on that, but it would be nice for us to know where it's gonna be hosted and if at all possible.
Sure,
So
no.
I think we should have
It'll be
that.
hosted in Laredo.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll be 100%.
Well, it has to be for home- for
We're
hotel.
shooting for this, so.
We have a
We
plan.
want it there also.
Okay.
To showcase our new venue.
Yeah, that's the goal. JJ Gomez, Parks Director. That is 100%. We're pushing every day with the company's architects. We have an option in case something is missing, that we're a certificate.
We're working on a lot of
We're working
things
on
to
that.
try to get this.
And there's also a plan B with Unitrade and Veterans Field and all that stuff. There's also just in case, right? But we
We're
don't.
shooting for the Buena Vista.
We want the Buena Vista 4th of July.
No plan B, just take the plan A.
No, that's eight times two, right? So
I think just for the item that we have presented, we have a motion to approve in a second, so let's go ahead and,
And then we'll
call for
bring
the
back
question
that
on that.
next meeting.
Yes, go ahead.
I know everybody sees it as a baseball tournament, but since we started this complex in past management and previous council and in mayors, I encourage you all, definitely encourage you all. If Taiwan comes in, they win the Asian Pacific, I want you to meet. They come to Laredo. It's about investing in Laredo. And that is the Deputy General for the Council of Taiwan that's been here. Nobody of management's been there to receive him. Councilman Seattle was there, that's your Veterans Field. And it's important, very important. I personally hosted him in 2019 in Guardo's Restaurant. Brought city managers, previous council members. We didn't follow up. I think it's very important to follow up with these people. So it's not only a baseball game, it's an opportunity to bring investors. With this economic culture they have in Houston, that's what they do. Just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes, and then Mr. Mr. Valdez will get that presentation on the next council meeting on the specifics on the actual tournament.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
the auditor's here.
Okay, so we had an item tabled, this item, the auditor's report that Councilman, Rangel really wanted us to listen to last time. So we're gonna listen to item 36.
36.
Can we get a motion to bring that up? Okay,
Second.
motion second, all in
Just-
favor?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may. Sir, can you make it at least 20-minute long, so.
No.
Really?
So good
Just
evening
make it
again,
entertaining.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members, Francisco Mata, Director of Finance for the record. Yes, Mr. Garza here with Canales Garza and Baum CPA firm is here to yield the results of our FY 24 audit comprehensive financial report for the city. So, Mr. Garza.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon, members of City Council, members of management.
Name and company for the record again.
Yeah, my name is Juan Jose Garza. I'm a partner with Canales Garza and Baum. And pues we performed the audit for the city of Laredo for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024. And as part of our audit, we issued 3 reports. The first report, which is, well, the 3 of them are important, but the first one is the one that addresses the financial statements of the city. And I'm pleased to say that we have issued an unmodified opinion on your financial statements. What that means that's the best opinion that a CPA firm can provide to an entity. What that means that your financial statements can be relied upon by any third party. And then we issue 2 additional reports. One, which is in relation to internal controls as it relates to government auditing standards, and the single audit report, which is as part of, for that report, we are required to audit your major federal and state grants and issue an opinion on them. And on those 2 reports, we're required to report any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses identified during our audit. And I'm pleased to say that we did not encounter any of those, that made it to that level of the report. Overall, I feel very good about the city, that it has very strong controls. That's what we found when we perform an audit. We perform our audit from different angles so that we can arrive at our opinion on the financial statements. And we encounter, very good, strong internal controls in the city that led us to arrive at such opinion on your financial statements.
Great. Do we have a letter from the firm stating that?
Yes, it's part of the, it goes together with the annual comprehensive financial report.
And that was submitted to you on May 28th via an email. I'll be happy to resend that letter.
Well, I think it would be good, Mr. Knapp, to kind of let the public know that we got this, report card, favorable report.
So it is published, it's been published, it's posted online, so.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may?
Yes.
Just want to say thank you to the financial department. Honestly, our staff, they're doing a phenomenal job, and thank you, sir, for being here, giving us this presentation for us. It's good news finally for us. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sir, and I wanted to expand on that dialogue, if I may. For 34 consecutive years, the finance department has received the GFOA Award for Excellence in Financial Reporting.
Thank you.
And I am honored and to be part of that group. So,
Thank you.
Councilman Garza?
Yeah, I wanted to echo Mr. Gutierrez's comments. It's very important that we, in light of the circumstances from this weekend, that everybody out there get to hear this. I mean, publishing it, putting it on our website is not enough in my mind. That every good thing that we do out here, part of the reason that the public spoke the way they did was because they're telling us that we're not being as vocal as we are about our finances and all that, and transparency and all that. This is something that proves that it exists. This is something that showcases the talent that we have here. This is something that we need to continuously be pushing to the public so that part of that confidence can come back.
sir, on May of this year, we have submitted for the FY24 review for that award, and we are confident that we're on good track for that.
Good job.
Thank you. Councilman King?
Thank you. And I was going to say the same thing about, as far as piggybacking on Councilmember Garza's point, for example, with the previous item regarding to the improvements of Sames Auto Arena, you know, if the public's not made aware that we're doing those types of things, whenever it does start, you know, and for, in this one, I anticipate, you know, the way we share this with the public is important, because if it's kind of like an upbeat, with upbeat music in the background, and it's like, it just can look like we're trying to, you know, make it seem like we're overselling it. Like, just have this gentleman, if he's allowed to, have him just tell him what he found, like in the most, like, straightforward, I mean, you're not monotone, but, you know, just you're a serious accountant. You, like, you, the vibe you're giving is serious, no BS accountant. Like, interview this gentleman about what he found. Don't have someone from PIO do the audio over it. Just have this guy, this gentleman, tell us what he found. That will be so much more convincing to the public than our people building up what you found. You, if you can, if you're willing, like, I think you should tell the public what you found. Yes, you just did it in a public forum, but it would be nice if that's how we explain to people what we're doing, if we had the professionals explain it. And so I think everybody should be able to hear what you're saying. Of course, I think we're Facebook Live tonight, so I guess they are, but that's a 3-hour, 4-hour thing. No, not everybody's watching all of that. So I've been beating this dead horse. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman King. Do you need action or a motion from us tonight? Do we need to accept it?
It's really, I'm here just to present my report. The report has been issued. That's the opinion of my firm on your financial statements. I'm here, to present the results. But I don't know.
Sir, you can take action to
I'll
accept the
entertain a
results.
motion to accept the
Motion to accept the
report, and
report.
thank you for your work.
Motion to accept, your report.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in
And
favor?
Mr. Mata, I was just gonna say, Mayor Pro Tem, I know last time it was, I'm apologizing for tabling it. I know it was a short, presentation, but I think presenting it right now, it's helping us in a different way. Last time it was like, we were doing it on a short time. This time we're presenting it, and it's gonna help us in a different way. Showing the people the more transparency, the clarity of the audit that you're doing, that there's no deficiency there. So for that, I think it's a better presentation, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I think we're on, executives. Oh, we'll take the vote now. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may,
Yes.
go into, motion to go into executive session for item number 13 on the consent agenda, and then the executive session items, which are number
38 and 39.
38 and 39.
Point of order, Mayor Pro Tem, we need to take item 13 off the table. We need to take item 13 off the table.
Oh, before we do that, we'll take item 13 off the table.
Off the table.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Now my motion to go into executive session for item number 13, 38, and 39.
Do you have to read the disclaimer?
Pursuant to an executive session code under Texas Government Code 5.1.071, 5.1.071, do I need to read it all? Each one, 30, 39? Yes? Read the codes, that's it. And any staff deemed necessary to be in executive session with us.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. We're going into executive session. It is 7:14. It's 7:28. We're back from executive session. No action was taken.
Mayor Pro,
Yes, Councilmember Cigarroa, do you have
Mayor Pro
anything
Tem,
on
I'd like
item
to bring back item number 13 on the consent agenda.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Yes?
Second.
Motion to approve, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Councilmember Cigarroa?
Yes, regarding item number 38, I'd like to just inform the public that no action was taken. Item number 39, I'd like to move that we authorize our legal department to handle the defense in this matter in-house.
I'll second that.
Second. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion passes. We are now at item 40A3, Councilman King. It's your item.
Okay, record time here. Let's see if we can stretch this to 11 PM.
No. No.
So,
Not today.
okay, this is just an update from, just request for an update from Utilities Capital Improvement Plan, along with the outlook for the upcoming 25-26. It's just, there's always a lot of discussion about, especially in the case of the bond discussion. Of course, with our utilities capital improvement plan, we bond out hundreds of millions of dollars. So it's just an update, because we do it during budget, but we're not always, especially with the change and transitions we've had at director. I know you're interim director, sir. But so it's nice to get these updates from time to time on where we are on the status of projects. I know we have $29 million of water lines that are about to start being replaced in all 8 districts in the next 3 months. But just anything you can update us would be great.
Yes, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, good evening, Council. Eduardo Santos, Utilities Interim Director, for the record. If I may, I have a small presentation. I'll be fast.
You all look fantastic with those caps on. My goodness, look at that. Yeah, those are nice on.
Promoting Laredo one way or another.
Every day. Every day.
Is this report gonna show us that we're working on the water and the infrastructure and all that?
Yes,
I think
this
that's what
report-
we're looking for, right?
So this is the report real quick. I'm gonna show the current projects that are under construction. And then there's 2 slides. One slide for upcoming water projects,
Okay,
a slide for upcoming sewer projects, and then a slide for funding that we already trying to request from different agencies.
great.
Okay.
Thank you.
So at any moment, stop me if you guys feel the need to. So the first project that we have is a 42-inch gravity interceptor from Zacate Creek wastewater treatment plant to Chacon Creek. That is expected to be completed on November 2026. It's a $31 million project. The next project is Manada wastewater treatment plant, $51 million project, expected to be completed September 2025. Buenavista Sports Complex lift station, expected to be completed in June 2025, about $3 million project. 24-inch transmission main from Bustamante to Loop 20, the airport. That's also be expected to be completed in June 2025. The 36-inch transmission main from Jefferson Water Treatment Plant to the Zacate Creek area, expected to be completed October 2025. And the continuation of that project is the 36-inch transmission main from Zacate Creek to the Lion Booster Station, expected also to be completed in October 2025.
Pro Tem?
Yes, Councilman.
Going back to the Zacate Creek, the main from Zacate Creek to Lion Butcher Station. And I know I've asked this before, but if you could explain, there was a proposal several years ago for that Zacate Creek wastewater treatment plant to be decommissioned. Then I heard more recently that perhaps it was not going to be decommissioned. Do you know where the decision-making process is? And if it's not going to be decommissioned, is there a plan to mitigate the smell that still comes from that wastewater treatment plant?
So there is a project, let me go back. It's the 42-inch gravity interceptor. So the plan is to push from the Zacate wastewater treatment plant, move all that wastewater towards the South Laredo wastewater treatment plant, with the eventually moving the Zacate Creek to decommission that. And also recently, I just visited the plant last week with our superintendent, and they've been making efforts to mitigate the smell that is around the area. Unfortunately, it's a wastewater treatment plant, so it's hard to mitigate completely, but being there, what they've done recently, they mitigated a lot from the way it was before. So they are continuing to do efforts, and we are continuing to bring in, improve the plant right to mitigate it, because I know it's an inconvenience for the residents, the smell in that area.
And, sorry, so what is the time frame in the big picture when you think that potentially you would decommission that wastewater treatment plant?
In my opinion, I would estimate about maybe 2 or 3 years. But I'll double check on that and get you an actual number based on what we have.
It's a much more positive timeline than I've heard in a long time, so thank you
So
for that.
we're making efforts to decommission that.
Okay.
Councilmember, if I may. Yes, and so as you can see on the screen as well, Mr. Los Santos showing a completion date for this project of November of 2026. So once this project is completed, that will allow us to now look into how soon we can decommission the wastewater treatment plant.
And in the meantime, the wall that caved to the side, right, has that been patched in the meantime, or is this?
Currently, we have a consultant on board that's coming up with options for us to consider to address that issue. Currently, the tank, I know where your friend, the tank is empty for the same reason, because we don't want to have that extra load on the tank and cause it to collapse. But we are working on that to get it addressed.
Thank you.
Can I just, and I just wanted to go a little bit further on the smell issue. Are we talking about all the way from the point at the Rio Grande to where it connects to Zacate Creek and further north? Or I'm currently working with something with Mr. Chavez to try and figure that out, because it's really spreading, the smell is spreading all the way up to Saunders.
Okay.
And Saunders and Zacate Creek. So I'm trying to figure out if this is the cause of it, or once it's done, we'll be able to get a little bit more clear picture as to where the cause of what's causing this.
The Zacate plant area, I think that's what you're referring to, right?
Yes,
The one
yes,
by,
Teca neighborhood.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one we're referring to.
So this one, well, but you don't know that that's the cause right now, that might be the cause for all the way up north to Saunders?
No, I don't
Okay,
believe so.
so that's the one.
Councilmember, yes, if you can allow us, and we're currently going through our evaluation based on the information that you sent us. And so we'll review that and we'll analyze, see if it has any
I
relation with
suspect that
it.
it might have something that they're.
Right.
It's
We will
somewhat-
evaluate it and we'll
okay.
provide
Just let me
back
know
a
that.
recommendation.
All right.
Councilmember Segarra, did you want to add something?
No, thank you.
So my understanding also on that one is just that there is still a debate on whether or not it's gonna be decommissioned, or are you saying that because what I had heard from the consultants was that they still see some useful life in there? If we, invest in it, that we could possibly still use it versus building a whole new facility somewhere else? That's
Right.
what I had understood.
And if you can allow us to look at those details, the only thing I mentioned right now, this project for the 42-inch interceptor has a completion date of November of 26. So then, when that happens, then like Mr. Los Santos mentioned, then it'll allow us to reroute some of that sewage that's going in there. And then, but at the same time, we can evaluate, see how soon, or to abandon it, then we'll look at that.
Great, thank you. Can you proceed?
So I'll go back to. The other project is the Lion South, water storage tank. That's expected to be completed in June of this year. And we also have in conjunction with the text, we have the US 59 Loop 20 utilities relocation.
Councilman Garza.
Yeah, just a question on the water storage. There was, I believe, was it a 26-inch stub out?
A 36-inch stub out.
36.
So we're doing a 36 stub out in preparation for this project.
Okay.
Coming from Zacate to Line, that's to facilitate the connection and avoid interruption of services.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next one we have is the replacement of Jefferson Water Treatment Plant, the high service pump station. That's expected to be completed in July 2026. And we have the chlorine dioxide improvements, also expected to be completed in July 2026. And then we have the upcoming water projects. I think that's Councilman King, that's we're referring to. The project that we have right now, you want me to go through all of them, or?
That's good.
So one of the first one we have is the pipe bursting project. That project will be coming up for your consideration in the next council item for the 19th of this month for $11 million. The other projects we have are rehab and water line breaks throughout the whole city. The 3 million gallon Cuatro Vientos booster station.
Mayor,
Yes, Councilman.
but line rehab contingency, what's the line rehab? What does that consist of? Like, what is that? The replacing of the lines?
The replacement of lines, but we are using similar to the pipe bursting. So we line it through the inside without having to actually dig a trench and cause more damage to the road.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So the first item, the pipe bursting, that's what we'll be seeing in the next council.
Okay, I'm just wondering what it was. I'm sorry.
Councilman King.
Because in the pipe bursting part, I know Mr. Buzz Frischker had mentioned he was going out for bid. The request was to try to find contractors who are willing to do the pipe bursting method, because some would not. So
we do have some.
We do have some
Yes, sir.
bids.
And we'll have
Yes, Councilmember, if I may, yeah, we'll be coming in with a recommendation for 15 different water line replacement projects at the next meeting.
Right.
And this will be citywide.
Yeah, thank you.
And is this because most of these projects have a timeline of nearing completion that we're getting ready to have the other round of projects started with new completion dates? Was that why we're getting this list coming up to approve? Is that
That's,
why?
well, this list is the current projects that are funded,
Okay.
that we're currently working on. The one that I'm referring to is the start of the water line replacement projects that Buzz had been talking about, which will be coming up again at the next council meeting.
But that's the list you're going over, right? The ones
this is the
that
list.
have
It's projects that are already funded.
funded but haven't started.
Haven't started. The majority of them are in design. Once the design is complete, then we'll go out for bids.
But they're funded and
Yes.
they're in the pipeline
Yes, in the
for
pipeline.
work. Okay.
Yeah. The ones that I'm referring to, we're coming, next meeting with the, selection of a contractor to start construction.
Right, okay.
Thank you. And then my question was about the $29 million towards the water line replacements, which is a part of the $68 million that you just showed, I'm guessing. Part of that $29 million came from this past fiscal year, 24-25 utility CIP that original, I think we kind of amended it at one point, but I guess my question is, I love the presentation, thank you, but if we could add just one more aspect in the column, like a revenue source, like where each money's coming from, which year, which bond, just for, but thank you for, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Councilman, so that's our next step, with Mr. De Los Santos being, there at the department now and coming in with all these projects. I hope you've had a chance to, see what we've done at the engineering department, where we have, specifically that, where we have a timeline for each project, whether it be design, construction, and the funding mechanism. That's something that I've already directed staff to start looking into, to implement on these projects. So you'll be seeing that real soon.
The next project on the list is the TxDOT 16-inch water line west side of Loop 20, El Pico clarifier, utilities relocation for US 59. Phase 3, that's the area around the airport. Filter media at both plants, raw water pump station improvements at El Pico. It's a 16-inch water line, mile marker 12 to mile marker 13, meter replacement, relocation of 8-inch water line along Carlton Road. That has to do with the Carlton overpass. And then we have funding for utility relocation on Vallecillo Road, which has to do with the Vallecillo Road connecting Mines Road to 35. And then we also have a Casablanca Road, 16-inch water line.
Great.
We have a couple of more projects for sewer. So on the sewer side, we have the Columbia Service Area wastewater improvements, sewer collection projects. That's citywide, Zacate collector rehab. So on the Zacate, we are televising the line and making sure it's in good conditions and address any deficiencies as necessary. Pan America lift station, elimination of that lift station, 12-inch force main from Sombretillo to Aquero, 54-inch sanitary sewer interceptor, rehab of sewer line under Highway 35. Again, we also have some monies for the relocation on US 59 to Phase 3, meter replacements, and the relocation of the 12-inch along Halton Road related to the overpass.
Great.
Thank you.
So almost 100 million total in projects. Any other questions on the report?
Yes.
Can we get a copy, and then can you include, I think it would be also helpful for us not only to see the funding source, but maybe the purpose of the project, a little description on why we're doing it, you know,
Yeah, we have that.
what was the need that triggered that, and
Do you remember Mr. Chavez referring to the report? That will have exactly what you guys are looking for. Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Great. All right, move on to item 40B. Discussion with possible action to implement signage and barrier recommendations from LPD Port Police as presented and approved by the Port of Entry Advisory Committee to facilitate and improve traffic at the World Trade Bridge and along the I-69 corridor west of I-35, to include coordination with TxDOT, allowing for the execution of any necessary agreements and any other matters incident thereto. Believe they have a presentation. This was, you know, we've been trying to, through the Port of Entry and in efforts with the Port Police, with LPD, to improve movement and conditions at the World Trade Bridge because of the congestion and the backing up. And they have a new initiative where they're looking and they're bringing recommendations. They already brought to us the recommendations at the last council meeting with the signage on Riverbank. So we're trying to work on the Riverbank congestion problem, which is a long-standing issue. So I commend the council for tackling that long-standing problem for Mines Road and for the port. And then this is just a couple more recommendations on actually, as you're getting into the port, from the perspective of the driver, and how police can, they made some recommendations. So Chief, would you like to give us a little rundown, a quick rundown of what it is? It's already gotten the approval of the Port of Entry Committee, so basically tonight, council would just approve these, approve these items and approve the ability to work with TxDOT, because some of this is TxDOT's right of way.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, thank you.
Distinguished members of council, good evening. My name is Ricardo Gonzalez, Assistant Chief for the record. Yes, as Mayor Pro Tem was mentioning, there's been a recent assessment that was done in the area. Well, there's continuous assessments, but there was one particular that was done in the corridor of I-69 stretching west of 35 into World Trade Bridge. Obviously, the massive amount of vehicles that we see in the area, we're trying to manage that a little bit more effectively. So the recent study that was done, there's some issues with some old signage that we want to improve, manage the way that they were placed. When there's congestion, drivers do not see it because it's on the actual roadway. We want to move that into areas where they're highly visible, no matter the congestion or how fast, how slow vehicles are moving. It creates less problems when they bottleneck and they're the vehicles or these commercial vehicles on the wrong lane because they're empties. They're supposed to go in a different lane and so forth. There's also problems, as you will see in some of these pictures. This is what I'm talking about. A lot of these signage, which was on the actual lane, is already worn out. When there's congestions, people don't see it, so they really will avoid them altogether. So we want to place that signage both in English and in Spanish, more along the ways where they're more visible. There's also, they all can also be located in areas up high, as you can see in some of these other signage.
Because Chief, isn't it true that the empties are required to go all the way to the left, but some of the drivers don't know that, so the officers have to go truck by truck?
So we're very lucky that a lot of these drivers are local, they know the system, but there's some that don't. So whenever, especially in congestion area, we're trying to move them from one lane to the other, the officers have to go out there, it creates chaos. So this is some more examples of the proposed signage that we want to do. Now, as you can see, a lot of this is in part of the World Trade Bridge, so that wouldn't be as difficult to do. But a lot of the other proposed signage and even some of the barricades or barriers that we're asking for, as you can see in this picture, which whenever there's congestion, these commercial vehicles do the makeshift exits to get out of the being in line and into the access roads, and they start doing these roadways very unsafe. They create a lot more chaos when we're out there. So we're asking TxDOT to work with us. We're making recommendations to put up barriers or doing excavation ditches along the route. That way it prevents vehicles from doing these makeshift exits.
They do it to get on also, which is
True.
kind of make, when you're already in
Cut the
congestion,
line, yes.
they're trying to cut in line, and that's a big problem.
And this is one of the areas that gives us a little bit more problems. As you can see, there's an entry and an exit, both makeshift roadways. So the conversation, we're gonna submit formal with your approval and support. We will be making formal requests to TxDOT. They will have to send their engineers to do a study on these requests, and if everything, depending on the feasibility of their study, hopefully they allow us to support a lot of these requests that we have for them.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Officer Gonzalez or Chief Gonzalez, is there a way to see if TxDOT has in other cities done vegetation barriers? Because I see them in San Antonio, and I know in other sites they actually invest to put up trees, shrubs, and we could definitely use the greenery. But I would like to see if TxDOT has those plans.
Most definitely, we would make that, we'll include that as our request or proposal. We just need a barrier. But I know sometimes vegetation such as tree take a long time to mature. It gets complicated, irrigation, all these things. The reason we were putting these requests is to immediately mitigate the problem. But that is not out of the question. There's ways of doing it. And
But
hopefully they
short-term,
listen.
long-term,
Yes.
right?
Doesn't hurt to ask, right? So we will add that to our request.
Thank you.
And unless there's any other questions, this is pretty much what we presented to the Port of Entry Advisory Committee, which has been accepted, and these, with your support and approval, we're making the formal request to TxDOT.
Can we get a motion to approve?
to accept that as presented.
Motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
For your hard work.
Thank you.
Next item is 40C. Councilmember Cigarro.
Or creation of new ordinances regarding regulating bulky item pickups and any other matters if there too. And I know Mrs. Vasquez had a presentation last time that we didn't get to see.
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor Pro Tem and council members and management. My name is Araceli Vasquez, and we're here with Mr. Alejandro Benavides.
Thank you.
You're receiving right now just the present services that Solid Waste Department have. And as you can see, our trash and recycle collection schedule is the first one. And then it follows by the lawn clipping and branches collection schedule, which we have a rear loaders and 8 grapples that service each zip code by day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we have the bulky items, which is 2 times a year, one in the spring and one in the fall. This is the equipment that we have, and we use it as much as possible, and we try to, for them to be actually in the entire city, covering all our districts. We need to understand also that we have a couple of units that sometimes we have down, that we try to cover our routes with the available units that we have. When we have them, you know, sometimes we send one route to help another route, depending on the units that we have down, due to our fleet. Also, covering here is not the special services. And I believe right now we're working with you on one of them for Las Palmas. So it's either Wednesday or Tuesday that we send the 8 grapples to service you, you know, for the days that they need them, either Tuesday. We try to do it every Wednesday, but if we have a bulky item, we move it to a Tuesday or through a Thursday. So they go there, do that special service, and then they go back and cover the entire zip code that is for that day.
So I was reading your item forward just because, and this is not by means to deviate from the 2 bulky item pickups we have a year per district, but to see what efforts we could implement
to enforce,
because we continue seeing these bulky items placed on the sidewalk that end up staying there for months at a time. And even with the enforcement efforts that we do have in terms of like going and citing, it's just a vicious cycle, and that also adds up and is an expense on our resources, and still nothing like the bulky items are still there. And so just in an effort of like having a clean city, what recommendations, I mean, is it that we, once it gets called in, that it immediately, like if we can work towards immediately picking it up and charging an extra fee for that pickup, or what are like just bringing, maybe it's bringing back recommendations of implementing a.
If I may,
a more
we
efficient
actually
plan.
had a meeting internally, and we discussed the options that we can offer to council, right, in reference to, and as per Mr. Benavides, he was saying that they tried before to do an expense to the water bill, expense to, to do the service, and he explained, we only have 8 grapples, 8 rear loaders. That's all we have actually right now. As it is, sometimes they have to help one another to cover all that is pending, right? If they don't finish one route, they have to assist.
Mm-hmm.
So they explain also that because they were trying to do and pick up and collect later, so did not pass. That's something that was explained, that did not pass. It was not approved back when. That was years ago that they tried to do that by council to add another bill, right? So they were saying that it's mainly enforcement what we need to make sure that we can help and kind of enforce. But then again, on that, I know we have illegal dumping division on our environmental services, as we have the code enforcement officers. And mainly on the bulky items, the districts that they try to cover and be more active is 1, 2, and 8. Those are the districts that usually have more requests for bulky items. In the aspect of, we did run a report, and those are the 3 main districts that I don't know if we can get management to assist us with the departments so we can implement more code enforcement and illegal dumping officers to assist us with that.
But so is it an issue with needing another truck to be able to meet the needs?
As
Because
it is
still-
for
it's
the
not for
many-
free, like what I'm proposing, it would be a cost, but we have these bulky item pickups, and then immediately after, there's people still go and put their trash on their sidewalks and leave it there for weeks, even when the city goes and gives them an orange tag. And so we're living in a dirty city, and that's not helping to.
No, and we understand,
pride of our
the only
community.
thing is that District 8, we have a lot of rentals, and we have a lot of apartments, and even if we try to do a enforcement, we don't know who directed to, because sometimes it's for apartments or rental houses that if you go and send an investigator or a code enforcement officer illegal dumping, they just say somebody put it there, and they're having a hard time to be able to address that, because no, we actually don't have cameras within the city, so.
Okay, Ms. Vasquez, a couple of questions. First off, special services that you mentioned, what are special services?
Right now, we have a project in Las Palmas, right? And they have, they doing the clearance of all the invasive trees. So they requested a service, we give the service, we have the cost of the units, how much they charge based on weight, and then we have a fixed quote, fixed rate for the units. If they go a run trip is
Yeah, we charge them $90 per hour on the service. And
Per
it's
truck?
Per truck.
Per hour.
Per hour.
Per hour. So it's
Per hour, per
$90.
truck.
So if it's 6 2 hours, it's $180 for the service.
And
And then we also charge them for the tonnage.
And when these special
The
services are
weight.
going on, what's happening with the rest of the districts? Because you
No,
just mentioned
as
you only
soon
have
as
8
they-
grapplers, so.
As soon as they finish, it takes them 1 to 2 hours, they go back to their district. And they have to finish on that district.
They will finish in the
They
district
will
that they're
finish on
close to.
that district.
Okay, as far as 8 grapplers for the city of Laredo of our size is simply not enough. So I would recommend for budget time, and we're already talking about that, be sure and ask for several of them on there. Okay, God willing, we can approve some going from there. When these special services are going on, is the city breaking even to pay our employee and whatever the truck is being used as far as diesel, mechanics, whatever it may be?
And
Or
that
are we
was
breaking
not-
even at least, or not even there?
And that's how it was appreciated out when they did that ordinance. We have the ordinance for the cost of the services that we provided. Back, how old is that ordinance? I believe it's a few years that they implemented that fee. So that was the estimation by when.
Okay, my third comment and last one. Apartments are everywhere, all over the city of Laredo. So just a recommendation to staff, please, to have code enforcement go out to especially apartment complexes, because I see it in my district every single day. Somebody moves out at the end of the month, at the beginning of the month, and there's sofas out there, mattresses out there, everything, anything. And I think it's time code enforcement gets out there and enforces those laws, because putting that trash out there for us to pick up for free is absolutely ridiculous. We need to be sure that there's fees being brought out to the people that own these properties, and they need to maintain them themselves.
Yes.
Councilman Rangel?
I think Mr. Gonzalez was first.
No.
Okay, so my comment is that I've heard these comments, let me echo what, jump a little bit behind Mr. Gutierrez's comment about code enforcement. It's not so much code enforcement, so much that we have an ordinance. I think we have an ordinance that we allow people to put unwanted items outside their fences, if I'm not mistaken, so they can be picked up and taken if they want. You know, if I'm not mistaken, that's an ordinance, Mr. Nguyen? Is that an ordinance? So, dealing with that, you go to, I've been in District 2, driving around, you see sofas, you see stoves out there, but they won't say if they work or they don't. They just say, if whoever wants to take it, take it. And I think that's what's causing to see all this mess outside the fences or on the easements. If we gotta do a change on the ordinance, start off from there, start looking, start cutting down, seeing if we can change it, the ordinance. Maybe we'll help out the grapples, and we'll help the bulky pickup, because we can then identify what's good and what's bad, what's useful and what's just trash. And they can't come up with that saying, or come up saying, oh, well, then somebody left it there. If somebody left it there, then they're illegally dumping it outside your home. Others can say, well, they were gonna take it, it works, you wanna take it, they can take it. That's why I'm putting it out there. The sofa's brand new, I bought new ones, whoever wants to take it, and they stay there for days and days and days. The branches, even months. So the branches, you see these companies go out there, they cut, they have their logos, they have everything. They cut the branches and they put them outside. But they charge for the service to take those branches. So I think if code enforcement starts hitting, those people cutting branches, if they see you cutting branches, they're gonna ask you, okay, if you're cutting a branch, maybe we can start off from there. Looking for, if you're gonna cut branches, take out a permit, if you wanna, start making something different, because you're gonna leave the branches out there. You're already charging the customer for cutting the branches. So we gotta find, I think, maybe it's something we can look into, or maybe change the ordinance. But the having, this ordinance, having people outside leaving their stuff, because if they wanna take it, if it's new, or if it's used, because somebody can take it or be to recycle, I think that's what creating it's making the city of Laredo look messy, but District 2 or District 8 or District 1, I think those people are just putting it out there so they can take it, but they don't take them, so that's just what I.
No, and we are planning to work with code enforcement and our illegal dumping division to make sure we start enforcing on our side. And also, yes, we do have 2 pickups at no charge with no more than 4 items besides the bulky items. If they have more items than that, if you see the additional charges are at the bottom of this information. That's from the solid waste side.
Yeah, I was gonna echo several of the things that they've already talked about, so I won't make it long. There's, by the way, I'd like to commend the department, Mr. Benavides, the day that it happened to be my turn at District 4, I rode around with them during that whole process. They have extremely dedicated workers there.
Yes.
And I'm really proud of the fact of what we did with so little. I was amazed at the kind of work that they're doing with less equipment. And it's labor intensive, and it's just putting a lot of strain on our vehicles right now, that it's gonna cost us more later on if we don't apply this budgeting cycle, that we need to get whatever equipment is needed. That's number one. Number two, on the bulky item pickup that you do every quarter, does that include, and I just wanna echo what Mr. Gutierrez said about, does that include also apartment complexes?
It includes the entire district.
The entire district. We went and I rode around with them during that time, and we did pick up an incredible amount of sofas and more so mattresses and box springs and all that kind of stuff. I can't believe that people do not understand that once you go there and they picked it up and you read, if you read, it says that they're gonna be coming around maybe once in the fall and once in the spring. And it meant that more people started dumping in there. But I agree with Mr. Rangel that we need to change the ordinance, or we need to do a better job collectively to try, and this is not a question about going after the apartment owners, which I do believe, but I think we need to educate them more about the possibility of then getting those charges put back on them. Because the majority of the problems that I saw physically, I witnessed it personally, where most of those items were being picked up, and it was apartment complexes. Once they have a personal or a private company that does trash pickup for them, the rules do not apply with city. So we need to work on that, and we are gonna need your help in finding the wording and figuring out, because you're gonna have the best way of understanding how to collect those funds. Because I don't see it fair that the rest of the city has to look dirty because some people are not taking care of business the way they're supposed to. I took pride in the fact that I rode around with these people for one day, and we did the whole district. And it was beautiful to see that that district was clean. But 3 days later, the junk started piling up again. And it was through no fault of the citizens that are living there. But I really think that most of the apartment complexes were the cause of this. So I'd appreciate if you find a way in your expertise to figure out a solution for this so we can move on.
We can work with community development and environmental to see the ordinance and management, and so that way we can come out with this.
Councilmember Alyssa Cigarro.
Motion to come back with recommendations.
Yes.
Both for a fee program, a fee schedule program, and then, we'd also like to see, the needs for the grapplers in the upcoming budget.
Second. Budget.
Second.
And is there anything else that?
I do, Councilman, if you wanna make a comment? I did want to comment on this item. I do think that it was a much-needed item and conversation. I do think that there's some elements to this conversation that are important, especially for us to consider at this time that the public is tired of, you know, paying for things that are incurred that they didn't even really incur those costs. So nothing's free. So every time we pick something up for free, somebody pays for it. And usually it's out of our general fund. It's our collective taxes. We've been a losing venture with this for years. It wasn't until recently that we were trying to make this, every time our enterprise funds are not profitable, the general fund, which is basically the taxpayers, end up paying for it. We have a policy that we don't enter private property to clean it, and I don't see this being any different for apartment complexes. If they're a business, they're making money, they're renting, and if we're having an issue that has been identified that this is a big cause of it, you know, maybe it's time for us to say we're not going to pick up anything outside of apartment complexes. It's going to be on your responsibility to hire a private company to do it, or we're going to charge set fees. You know, a lot of our water customers own apartment or are renting apartments, so they don't own properties, and yet sometimes we see tree clippings that are a whole big pile on the side of the road coming from big trees that when we go pick that up, everybody else pays for it because they're paying for the fuel, they're paying for the time, they're paying for the dumping. We have trucks that drive around every Friday looking for lawn clippings, looking for tree branches. That's not a service that they call in. That's a service that we just provide because we wanted, you know, past councils decided that it was something worth spending money on, even if it cost taxpayer money. And I think the taxpayers of today are not willing to pay for that kind of stuff anymore. It's gonna have to be something that we evaluate that the people responsible are the ones paying. If somebody's leaving something on the side of the road, somebody's gonna have to pay for that. You know, nowadays we all have cameras, and if we can identify, you know, hey, this wasn't here yesterday, I have my camera shows, somebody dumped it, you know, we can work with that on a situation. Otherwise, we're gonna assume that that's your item, and you know, maybe we need to reevaluate our bulk pickups. Maybe we need to have people call in if they want us to pick up branches and add a fee on there. But I see this as a situation where it's not fair. You know, we're supplementing other people doing this when a lot of our citizens are paying for private companies or they're being responsible. So I think we do need to get to the bottom of it, but when you're talking about old ordinances and old fee schedules, maybe it's time to bring some recommendations that have us reconsidering decisions of the past.
Yeah, we'll work on that and make sure we address the commercial, as you were saying, to make sure that also equipment, you know, lasts us longer, because right now it's a non-stop with equipment.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
I just want to ask one question.
Yes.
What is the recycling schedule is once a week. What is the participation from
On
the
the
public?
recycling, we have more participation on the north than in the south, but still we collect, it's schedule.
So you feel that the once a week schedule is justified? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, maybe you can bring some suggestions on that too, if you find a need for it. Whatever, I mean, I think this council's willing to do what we need to do to make improvements and make better, more cost-efficient choices, so.
And that will help us a lot with their equipment too. If
So
we
we have a
address
motion?
the ordinance.
I'm sorry, can you call it out as to the way you want to word it? And I just
Did you
want to
want to
make
make an amendment, or?
Well, about the, I know we had spoken about the brush pickup also.
Yeah, I think we can bring that back as well, like how to, I think if you're willing to modify, amend it to include the brush pickup recommendations on that, and just all of our services and fee schedules overall.
Yeah,
I
well,
accept the amendment for the second.
Did you include commercial properties also?
So if I, please
Commercial
correct
and
me if
industrial
I'm
properties.
wrong. So commercial properties don't get, like the businesses are not included in bulky items.
Well, what I'm saying is that if we include the wording or language in there that,
But,
that there is, they can't also just leave things out there.
Things out there.
Tractor trailer truck, I mean, tires, on the side like that, that we can include that, and we'll charge them for that if they don't pick it up, if they don't hire somebody.
Then maybe considering apartment complexes commercial.
That's commercial. Okay.
and
We'll look into the ordinance from before and the ones that were, added and stuff like that, so that way we can kind of give you an outline and see the difference of, and then come with a recommendation.
Mr. Maldonado, did you get all that? Okay, we have the motion and the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Next item.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Rangel. 40D1. Yes.
Discussion with possible action on the insurance requirements for vendors utilizing city properties for all events and in any other matters incident thereto. And co-sponsored by Mr. Gutierrez, Councilman Gutierrez, and Mayor Pro Tem, Councilman Ms. Perez. The reason I'm bringing this up is I just want to give you all the information. I've been getting calls from vendors that are trying to get, participate in the city, go out and sell in our events. And when they do, they're asking for the insurance, for commercial insurance and stuff. So I just want to know right now to see how it works, for you to explain to us how it works. And, if there's anything that we have to attend, we'll address it right as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Honorable Council. My name is Linda Teniente. I'm the Human Resources Director. With me also I have Carla Robles. She is our risk manager for the City of Laredo. So we work in unison together. Risk management is a division of the Human Resources Department. I'm going to try to take you through, it's a complex topic to talk about. It's not that easy, but I want to give you some factual information here, sir. So the purpose of why we have general liability insurance, it covers for bodily injury, property damage, and personal injury. It protects claims resulting from business operations, and it's typically requested or required that we have limits of $500,000 up to $2 million. This is a standard operating for a business. The City of Laredo, because we are a municipality, we're a little bit differently. So right now, we have a consultant that works with us and gives us best scenarios on what insurances we need to have for certain services that we have for the City of Laredo. In this case, we are specifically talking about events and or when we have any type of private company coming onto city property to conduct businesses. So we are asking for commercial general liability, a minimum of $1 million per occurrence and $2 million aggregate. We also ask that they have workers' compensation at $1 million. We also ask that they have commercial auto liability at $1 million. We ask that the City of Laredo is named as an additional insured, and we also ask for a waiver of subrogation in favor of the city, and that the City of Laredo be named their certificate holder. These are all the complex requirements that we require of vendors that come onto our property. So we've been doing a little bit of research, and we did come across some of the discussion points, Councilman Rangel specifically. We looked at the workers' compensation. So what happens here, you usually have like mom and pop vendors that are small. This is not like and I'm going to use the McDonald's as an example. McDonald's, you ask for the workers' comp when you have a multitude of employees. The ones that are being set up at this parks and at city events, these are usually privately owned. It's usually a small family business, or there's maybe two people that work a concession stand per se. So what we're willing to do, we had discussions with our consultant in TML in the last couple of days, and they've recommended that we don't necessarily need the workers' comp. If it's going to be a sole proprietor, meaning that I'm the owner of the business and I'm the one providing the services, then you don't need that workers' comp coverage of up to $1 million. We also are asking if it's commercial, we have an ordinance, let me take you back. We have an ordinance on food vendor trucks. If it's a food vendor truck, there's an ordinance that stipulates that they must have a driver's license. It stipulates that they have to have insurance, liability insurance, if you're going to drive it on the streets. If you're using a truck that pulls a trailer, and in that trailer you have, let's say, the burners that will make your carnes or whatever at events, the one that will need the auto liability insurance, it's going to be the truck that pulls. So then if you have the general liability is what's gonna protect whatever you're making in that trailer. And the event, and the reason that you have this in the event, worst case scenario is you have a guest that comes in contact, gets burnt, gets damaged, the thing catches fire. If that insurance protects that, the people around it and also that property. The city of Laredo does not protect that property. The city of Laredo, TML does not allow us to protect a third party. The city, at TML, and I have a screen here. TML will own, what they do, that they only cover the city of Laredo properties, vehicles, and city employees. Third parties, they have to have their own insurances. It also encourages that they also get their own insurances once they come on city property. And then, I think we already said this. Just so you will know, the city of Laredo has 1,065 properties at a value of $922 million. If we add the vehicles and mobile equipment, it's in excess of $1 billion of assets that we have on our books right now. TML covers all of that for us. There's very little flexibility on covering a third party. So how do we deal with this? How do we address it? How do we meet somebody in between this so we can have the events that we want at the parks and at any of the Laredo City properties, and also protect the city? So we were able to gather and find a company. It's called GatherGuard. So what GatherGuard does, if you are a business owner and you cannot or do not have those insurances, which it's recommended that they do have this insurances, this GatherGuard allows, if we have a one-day event, and it's from $75 up to $300, depending on the class of risk that this event will have, that business owner can purchase that coverage for that event. What it will do, it will not list.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I may. Do you have the amount of to buy this this insurance? Do you have the amount right now?
Yes, sir. It is between $75 for a class 1 risk, meaning there's minimal risk involved, up to $650 if it's a class 3 risk, meaning in one category. So what they do, they have different categories. It's a class 1, class 2, and class 3 risk.
So class 1 is 75, class 2 is what, sir?
It depends. It depends on the, it depends on,
Also the number of days of the event.
Well, I have a question also.
So can I continue
Yes,
just real
of
quick?
course.
My question is, we're making them buy this insurance, which is class 1 for let's say no fires, nothing. It's just, they're just selling, like, let's say little knickknacks or whatever, right? We're making them, get the insurance for $75 for 3 hours for one of our events. So you see where I'm coming with this? Yes, 3 hours for $75. Some of them, are mom and pops. They're elderly people. They go out there. They're buying stuff. They're coming to us. That's what I'm trying to see if we can find a solution. And that's the reason I'm bringing it $75 for a person to go buy. You see these. We have had these peoples out there in our events. You were there on Día del Niño. There were the lady there. She did $60. That's what she did. No, $35. The one that was selling food made $75. And just imagine paying the insurance. They're paying the insurance liability. They're driving in the gas, the propane, the ingredients, just to sell $75. But they took the time because they want to be in the event, go there and sell. So that's why I'm trying to find a solution to help. Now, my question to you is, when we do other events, and we've seen other events, let's say, what event can come to my mind right now. But is there any way that we can cover, the city covers, okay, so I'm doing this event, I'm inviting you to come to my event. So what I'm looking for, I'm asking is, how do we do it, how do we do it when we used to do events? Like those big events?
If I may answer, Councilman, Mayor Pro Tem and council member, in the event that anything happens, the moment that we invite anybody on city property, that means the city is taking on that liability exposure at 100%. So it's gonna be I guess it's gonna be the decisions of the council, to what level do you want to take on that exposure, for the city of Laredo? And it becomes that question. If it's the wishes of this council I'm inviting you on and you're taking on that liability and it becomes a legal question. If it's a business that's coming in, is it gonna be one that cooks? It's gonna be a discussion that we have. What we're doing to try to kind of bring everything in together as well, Councilmember, we are developing a policy that kind of standardizes all of this.
But my question is, why now? Now, why not 3 years ago? How long has the policy been in play?
The policy, we're devising it right now.
But how long has it been, the ordinance that you're saying that we should have insurance, how long has it been in an ordinance?
2019.
2019,
Yes,
so you're 2020, you're saying about what, 6 years?
But I need to state.
And we're just implementing it right now?
In 2019, if I may add to this discussion, in 2019, it was passed. When we started to review this policy and devise it and take a look at it, the only thing that I did see in that policy that addresses just specifically, and I'm just gonna talk about the food trucks right now, it does not state the limit. It does not state that it's auto, it does not state general liability, it does not state any of those. It just says insurance. So then it becomes a question of the city, we do one thing, we amend our ordinance.
So the
to
ordinance says
reflect-
insurance.
It just says insurance.
It doesn't say commercial, it doesn't say food insurance.
It does not.
It just say commercial. So you're saying if the trailer has insurance, because once you get a trailer, you're putting a trailer and you're saying you got a liability insurance. Once you get a liability insurance, it's insured, so it's insurance, right? Am I mistaken or is there any other
It
words?
depends what you're stating it for. If it's a business, then there's a commercial liability coverage for it. If the person bought it, if the business owner is savvy or not savvy enough to call it a commercial business insurance, then it's on.
But we're not asking if it's heavy or not.
No.
What I'm asking is, it doesn't just say insurance.
It just says
So why are
insurance.
we saying commercial insurance?
We're doing it to protect the city of Laredo
But,
property and assets.
but we're following what the ordinance says. We should follow what the ordinance says. It says insurance. It doesn't say commercial. It doesn't say liability. It doesn't say full coverage. It says insurance. As long as it's insurance, it's covered.
No, sir.
It's not covered?
It will not be covered if they're using their commercial insurances to do
Legal?
business. And
Well,
I
of
guess-
course, if you have insurance for your house, but then floods, you don't have flood insurance, it won't cover, so.
But having insurance or having full coverage insurance or even having commercial insurance, are we liable to get sued?
We can't, obviously, any lawsuit or any incident, the plaintiffs may sue everybody involved, including the city. So if the individual is not, or the vendor is not covered, then the city would have that exposure, yes.
Well, my question is, once again, why is it that we haven't implemented since 2019, since the ordinance came in? We've done lots of events, we've done runs, we've done, all kinds of events, all kinds of people, vendors been into these events, and now we're implementing it. What triggered it? What was it?
Well, we've been fortunate, but there is that exposure. It's up to council if you'll want to lower this requirement for vendors, but there is that liability exposure. It's always been there. We've been fortunate. They haven't covered it in the past, but going forward, this is something for council to consider.
Councilman?
Mayor Pro Tem, ma'am?
Yes.
Just kind of, Mr. Anthony, just to dig a little deeper on that commercial auto liability, right? So the power unit, you're saying, needs commercial liability insurance if it's towing the trailer that's gonna be serving food or anything else. That's what you just mentioned, needs commercial liability insurance.
If it is a food truck and it is the one unit, it's moving.
If it's the one unit, right,
Right.
if it's a power unit with it combined together, then yes, it would need the commercial insurance. But you stated if it's a trailer being pulled by the power unit, right?
The vehicle
The
pulling
vehicle
should have
pulling
the liability.
should have, right, liability insurance, but
Yes.
it specifically states commercial. That's what you showed us on that slide.
If
Why
it's-
does it need commercial?
If it's one unit and
Okay,
it's a
so
business.
not the unit that's towing the trailer.
Right.
Just want to be sure and decipher
Yes.
those two, so, okay. So somebody pulling a trailer to one of our parks or a destination, the unit that is towing the trailer does not need commercial insurance, correct? It just needs insurance.
Correct.
And the trailer itself, because that's what's gonna be serving the food in our parks, that one needs commercial insurance, correct?
The general liability.
The general liability, okay. And you're proposing this from a class 1 risk to a class 3 risk. What is the difference from a class 1, a $75 charge, to a $650 charge for the class 3 risk?
It depends what the event is, and it depends the number of participants at this level, and this is how the quotes are quoted. A class 1 will be classified as just like a book reading, that's a low class risk. A class 3 would be like a carnival.
I'm sorry, did you say a book reading?
Like a book reading that you're doing, like a book sale, book reading. That's a class 1. There's low exposure on that one. A class 3 would be if you have carnivals, if you have moving pieces, if you have live animals. That becomes a class 3. Depending, and it also depends if you have it for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, or if you're going to have liquor. All of those elements are taken into consideration, and the cost is determined based on that.
Right, okay, okay. So then, I mean, as you all know, we don't hardly have any class 1 events in Laredo, right? They're typically, I'm assuming, 2 or 3. So how do we expect a vendor to pay $650 for insurance when they're barely scraping by with making $100? How are we not making this easier for them, and we're making it so much more difficult for them? Now, legal, a question to you. Obviously, we know this. Any idiot can file a lawsuit, right? Anybody can. We open our door to being sued every single day. Every event that we have, every park that we have open, anything that's going on, somebody trips here, they can sue us. I mean, yes or no?
Yes.
Right. So why on earth are we creating these policies to make it more difficult for small businesses that just started out, literally just starting out, to have to spend $650 on general liability insurance? I don't understand. When, like I said, we can be sued any day for absolutely anything.
To be fair, if you're leaving up to staff, staff needs to have the coverage to protect the city. However, you as a managing governing body, you all can accept more risk and lower these insurance requirements.
And now, you keep saying, we keep mentioning TML. Are we not self-insured?
Well,
Yes, we are.
we are.
Yes,
I
we
mean,
are.
we're-
The first $300,000, the city pays
Comes
up.
from city.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Councilman Rangel, real quick.
Yes, so my question is, how do we do it, how did we do it before? That's my thing, like, we had, we didn't just follow rules, we just came in for the events, we didn't have anything to do with it, just came in, have an event, Risk went out there, they made the assessment, and then we just let the event take on, or?
We had an incident where there was not a safety inspection done, and then the conversation came back, did y'all do an inspection? Which now, I went back to our risk staff, and they go, well, we do an inspection, here's that list. So we need to tighten that up and have better communications with our departments. So this is where this was developed from. It was an incident that just happened, and there was a live wire. Well, I take it back. They didn't know if the wire was live or not. There was water coming through there. There were people that were going to go through there. So it just became some of those that have we looked at it, and they're like, oh, by the way, there's also food trucks out there and things like that, of that nature. So we kind of took a look at everything. The question that came back to us like, well, do you have a policy? And I said, we don't have a policy. So what RISC is going to do is develop a standardized policy where it will be applicable across the board, which then prompted the look at, is there an ordinance in place that determines what we should or should not do? And we found that there was 2 ordinances in 2019 that were brought up, but, they,
So,
in essence, there
so
was
the ordinance came up just because there was a line, there was a lifeline, live or not?
We don't know.
But because somebody did the assessment on checking, and from there, we decided saying, well, this was unsafe, we don't have commercial insurance, we don't have insurance. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're trying to tell me, that's the reason it came up, or and now we're trying to we're trying to implement this into these people, trying to come and sell. But I'm not saying not charge them anything. What I'm saying is put them into a reasonable, amount, something reasonable, something that I can afford. Maybe if they're gonna stay there, maybe by hour. If you're gonna stay the 2 hours, such fee, 3 hours, such fee. They can decide how much, hours are they gonna be. Because if it's a 3 hour event, a 4 hour event, and you want me to spend $100 plus the $300 that I spend in groceries and food to sell out there, and then ask me to pay another insurance, it's, and then plus the permit, which it's gonna cost, they're already over $250, more than $250. So that's the reason I'm asking, and we can come up with something to help this community that are selling, and just to help them out, give them options, not just to say, because I want them in my events. I know Mr. Gonzalez wants the event. We got an event coming up on July 4th. We want them out there selling their water balloons, their toys, their lights and all that. So I don't want to make it hard for them. If they can make a little money of the communities, selling their stuff, of course we're going to support that. So if we can come back with something that can help them, I'll be truly happy.
Councilmember Figueroa?
So forgive me if I've confused the two, but I do remember being part of the street mural organizing faction there in front of the federal courthouse. It was a city street. We were required, the organization was required to carry insurance. So are you saying that we haven't, do organizations not generally have insurance requirements? Is this something that the city applies to only was applying to only certain things, but not others? That's one question, and the second would be, is there a way, I think you had the slide up, but it disappeared, about having an umbrella policy coverage that would cover event by event?
So the way that umbrella coverage, let me respond to this one. The way that it does, it is an excess liability insurance. What it does, it has additional insurances beyond the limits of what TML covers, and I'll give you a good example. The airport has an umbrella coverage. Because that one, if a plane goes down and runs everything on the landing, the airstrip, and runs into the building, that's going to be excessive. So it's going to be above what TML covers. So what they do, they force the city to grab what's called an umbrella coverage. That is the purpose of an umbrella coverage. There is no other umbrella coverage where we cover third-party private vendors. What we have are limits based on our consultant that's given us a listing of all the insurances we need, if it's professional, if it's contractual, if it is, if we're going to construction. All of those have different limits depending on what the cost of the contract is, depending what the liability exposure to the city is. So we base ourselves based on that. On the complicated ones, we will pick up the phone and call TML and say, hey, is this one of ours that you'll cover? And they'll let us know you need to go up to that higher amount. For the longest time, the city only had a $250,000 limit, which is unheard of. They're like, that is not enough to cover you. I just shared with you, the city has over $1 billion in assets based on properties and buildings. Our job is to protect it at minimal cost to the operating of the city and the departments. I guess it becomes, as Mr. Zahn has said, it becomes a question of what does council want us to do. If we want to take on that exposure, we certainly can. We can have a policy, we can tell them, sign a waiver of liability. You won't sue the city, but we always get sued. We currently have 35 lawsuits in the books right now at $5 million. So
excuse me for interrupting, is there a difference between liability for persons versus liability for property? Because the car insurance has that, right? Where you have personal liability and you're covering people's medical costs versus the actual physical car.
Right. And it's a depends response for me. If it's based on general liability, we're talking commercial. When I'm talking commercial right now, we're talking about injuries, we're talking about property damage, we're talking about diseases and the what hats that could come in. If you're talking about commercial auto, you're talking about a vehicle, and the best one I can tell you is going to be like a FedEx truck. So they're required to have the commercial auto insurances at those limits of $1 million or higher based on their operations. And this is how the insurance industry works. It is recommended and suggested that businesses should own and have a commercial general liability. You need that protection. if you don't have those insurances in place, what happens if you cause injury? We've been fortunate, the city of Laredo, I think we've only had an arm issue at one of the events. Other than that, we've been very fortunate, but it becomes how much of risk do we as a city and an organization want? We can do the limits as you instruct us to do. We can do a pilot program and lower the to 250,000 and see where that does for us. Or we can, whatever the wishes of the council is, we can certainly adjust ourselves to this. Gather Guard is the company right now that was recommended to us from National League of Cities that told us this is the company that does this for municipalities, for those businesses that do not have the insurances. So we can certainly take a look at it. We can certainly do a matrix when a company comes forward, and we can certainly help them navigate through it. But it is recommended. The chamber also has some information on insurance. You can also go do other a small business development foundation. They help these companies develop their insurances for their businesses to run. So there's some services out there, but whatever council wishes that we do, then we will certainly follow that lead.
I'll just say that we are not insurance experts. I don't believe anybody has that background here, and it's a complicated field because it's so different. I mean, what I have for my home, and I have a swimming pool. So when I had children's birthday parties, there's a whole other realm of the risk that you take. And so I do hope that you're able to navigate it with us and also offer suggestions, but also understand we just are not experts in this.
I think, Ms. Teniente, I think the issue here, if I'm understanding correctly, and I don't mean to put words in anybody's mouth, is that you had a policy that predates all of us on here, and instead of seeking clarification, this was just interpreted in such a way that caused some confusion and some issues. I think when you're looking at an event, and anytime we have an event, we're going to take some liability risk when we have the general public on any of our properties at any time. And so, for example, we own some kayaks that we don't lend out because of the risk that somebody could get hurt, or we have certain things that we do that we don't want to take certain risks, which is understandable. But if we're having a day out at the park and you have vendors coming out and putting their table to sell some stuff, it's unreasonable to charge them a commercial insurance for something like that because they're a business, even though, they're not really doing anything harmful. If it's a food truck that's parking on the side of the road, I think it's understandable that the city's not going to cover the damage to your vehicle because you started off with a slide that talked about our property and covering our property. I think it's understandable, or maybe we need to clarify that if you bring your personal food truck onto our property, we're not going to cover damage to your vehicle. It's at your own risk. But if something happens to somebody at the event, it's also unreasonable to force them to have commercial insurance to pay the claim for something that happened on our property. So it's like everybody's insured, and it's like, well, who's making claims to whose insurance now? If we're making the event, it's our liability. If we want to charge a fee or we want to do something to help cover an additional insurance that we have to cover, or if we want to require them to have commercial insurance, because I don't see any problem with saying if you're going to drive a car onto our property, it has to have insurance, something like that. But I don't know if there's some unreasonableness. We haven't seen the requirements. None of us were responsible for this ordinance. There was no question of clarification to any of us. So if it wasn't for, we're just trying to have events, and we're trying to support vendors and support these things, and it's financially unaffordable for them to participate, which is unfortunate because then people look forward to having, an offering of things, and, our events are just going to be, nobody wanted to have insurance because nobody could afford $600 insurance, so now there's nothing to do at the events.
If anything, right now I want to make a motion just to ask management to look into how we can help and, we can bring this community, this community, bring them in to see if we can encourage them to, participate on our events at the same time. Because they might start off like a mom and pops. Might start off like just a little tent. And, you never know, they might grow up to be, Google, Apple, and they started off in the garages. And I'm not trying to say I might sound crazy and it might sound like, oh, you're exaggerating, but that's the way it starts. You never know. They might start somewhere. And if we're if we're a place that they can start off from and they can remember, they will remember and they'll say, you know what, I didn't have anything, the city helped me out. They encouraged me to go out there and sell, and the community looked for me. So I want to encourage those people to go out and, put their tents up and, sell their aguas dulces, mangoneadas, or all those good goodies that we love, especially I do that. But, I want to encourage them. So I don't want to disencourage them and say, no, but the commercial insurance is too much. And I don't want to go out there. We have these events. We see these events go downtown, or we see them in other places, and you see 1, 2, 3 trucks. You go to San Antonio, you go to Austin, you go to Fiesta. You got pop-up trailers everywhere. You got people selling sombreros everywhere. Why? What are they doing that we're not? We gotta look into that. So, I just think, direct management should start looking into other ways of helping the community to get insurance, to come to events, and to encourage them, even if they do their own thing and somewhere and just park, as long as they're doing it the right way, encourage them to just to get the insurance and to find a way to insure them.
Motion second. I think that it's important for us to, put the different categories, put the different criteria. Maybe if we have to have people sign waivers, say what's gonna be covered, what's not gonna be covered, everything has to be reasonable, but, I think it would be something that this council would like to, have the opportunity to give input on, so.
Mayor Pro Tem and City Council, we'll bring something back very quickly because the report that we were giving you was actually lowering everything to try to make it more affordable as well too. So we want to make sure that we have this done and we're not in conflict with our ordinance. But we want to make sure that we give them the guard process that used to be called the TULIP program, and where they can get low-cost insurance based upon these single events. We'll continue on with the tiered insurance requirements as well too, because certain types of functions are more high risk than some of the other stuff, I think, like Councilmember you talked about. We can do essentially what's called a blanket coverage for certain events, where we can lay over the insurance policy over the top. As long as it's our event and everything, we can do a blanket coverage, and that will reduce some of those costs as well too.
Well, Mayor, well, that's what we're talking about,
Yeah,
Mr. Nibbs. That's what we're trying to figure out.
And I think going back to the Mayor Pro Tem as well too, is that, of course, the hold harmless agreements are important within that structure as well too, because we're happy to be held liable for the things that we're responsible for, but I think if they do something wrong.
So will that be in like one of our events? Will that insurance be the blanket insurance?
Yeah, there is that, and we hadn't talked much about the blanket insurance ability, but that is the ability out there where we cover everybody on a blanket level. We do it for our city stuff as well too. It doesn't always bring those numbers down, but I think that when we run some scenarios, we might find that it'll work for certain size of events. Just so you know, in San Antonio, for any of their city events, they do charge the insurance as well too, so I'm not sure.
And like I said, Mr. Nibbs, I'm not trying not to get.
I think we match, I think we match up with all of it.
Let's have Councilman.
Yes.
Like I said, Mr. Nibbs, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to
I'm
not trying to get no insurance for the public. What I'm saying is trying to help as much as we can.
I think we can come back and meet what your expectations are. What I'm recommending is that we do it fairly quickly, because otherwise we're held hostage a little bit with the current ordinance. And so I want to bring this back very quickly, because this will work for that. I think we're right there. We just need to lay it all the rest of the way out.
Well, Mr. Neb, the blanket insurance, what is the price on something like that?
Hey, it depends on the size of the event and everything. We're gonna have to run some scenarios for you to show you the blanket, because a lot of the blanket ones, like, at least when I was looking through some of the research here for that, is that they usually do them with larger events when there's 50 or more, but you can do it for smaller events too. We can cover and recover for different types. I think just right down the line that you were talking about for the first timers or such like that, or the nonprofits, we can do this a lot of different ways. I'm glad that you guys do understand the importance of making sure that we do have the insurance and the liability covered, because I think that's going to be the most important piece of this thing. We'll find the method, but I think we can bring something back fairly quickly.
The only thing, Mr. Neb, is that the event is gonna need like coverage, whether these people are there vending or not in a lot of cases. So if the vendor, it's him or herself, or the company is bringing an additional risk or liability or risk to the event, then I could understand needing an additional coverage for that, like let's say a bouncy house or something that's dangerous.
And that would be considered a high risk.
And I can understand that there would be a need for something like that at the event, but you know, for every single vendor to have a commercial insurance, I could see where that doesn't really make too much sense, because whether they're there or not, the people are still gonna need to, there's still liability, we're still responsible for anybody that gets hurt. Councilman Cigarroa has a comment.
Is this something that we can work with TML on to propose, solution to cover?
And in some cases, TML will not cover certain types of events that we hold. We have to have separate coverage for that as well too. Just so you're aware of that.
If I can add to a motion and you know, of what I said before, Mr. Maldonado, just to bring back the ordinance that, the insurance, to see if we can update it, see if we can change it out, or, you know, rearrange it or fix it the way, you know, it's the intent that we're looking to.
Yeah, I think we can. And we'll make sure we cover the TML stuff as well with everything else.
Yes, to bring back it was the first motion that I made, and then the second
He's
one.
making an amendment to his motion, right?
yes.
Yes,
So
correct.
who seconded?
Mr. Cigarroa.
Oh, you said second.
Okay, so I accept
Yes,
the
ma'am.
amendment.
Yes,
Yes.
you said second.
Okay.
Call for the question.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. There's two items left on the agenda. It is 40E, and then we have supplemental A2. I think we'll bring them both up at the same time, since they're, believe they're related. So, Councilmember Cigarroa, would you read your item?
Discussion with possible action to set up a committee within the city to focus on secondary water sources exploration, to provide regular updates to council, and to provide a budget during the next budget cycle for necessary professional consultation and travel funds for the development of collaborative partnerships with regional partners and long-term planning for Laredo's future water security and any other matters adjacent to, co-sponsored by Councilmember Dr. King and Councilmember Lisa Cigarroa.
I'm gonna read the mayor's item as well. A2, a request by Mayor Dr. Victor Trevino, discussion with possible action on an update on delegated tasks to management and utilities department regarding the previously approved past secondary water source resolution and any other matters related thereto. The mayor did provide me with a statement, but I'll go ahead and read that in a minute. So, Councilmember Cigarroa, did you want to?
We can start out with this statement, that's fine.
Okay, so the mayor made a statement. He says, this item was discussed by the council last year, where council decided to keep these issues within the utilities department and management. I believe delegating this issue to a committee is not proper and avoids difficult decisions that we have to make. In the end, the public expects council to deal with this very important issue directly. This also seems to cut off another council resolution that was passed in November of last year, which was discussion with possible action to direct the city manager to create a position in the utilities department for a dedicated staff member to investigate multiple secondary water sources and return to council in 6 months with recommendations for a plan of action and any other matters incident thereto. Just as an update, the current discussions with Webb County and Congressman Cuellar to dredge both Lake Casablanca and the Rio Grande are moving forward. And a trip to Mexico City is planned this month with border mayors to discuss issues that impact our region, including the current water treaty agreement and more details on the delivery of the 420,000 acre feet of water being delivered by Mexico by October, with each acre foot approximately 325,000 gallons. The Border Mayors Coalition anticipate that this will be one of many deliveries, as Mexico still owes over 265 billion gallons of water to the United States. This is important because if we can increase our retention abilities in the city, we can potentially get more time to look for secondary water sources. That's from the mayor based on other items that have been passed. So I think the mayor's sentiment is that the item 40E1 is not necessary because it's already being worked on in these other efforts. So, Councilmember Seattle?
Sure. Well, a first point is that I believe perhaps the item wasn't written very clearly. So while the phrase was to set up a committee, it was also within the city. And so the intent of the item is just to create space in our budget. I know budget items are coming up. We have now 2 memorandum of understandings in addition to the legacy memorandum of understanding. So one is with Eagle Pass, and Mr. Pishker, I'm looking at you so that you can correct me in case I misspeak. But one is with the city of Eagle Pass, and the other is with the Nueces River Valley Authority. Correct. And the intent of this item is to create space in our budget for what we know will be a long, years-long process to discuss with these regional partners about developing secondary water sources. We have, I think, a better understanding of where the future lies with Legacy, and that also is a multi-year effort for them to develop their water supply. It will require coordination between all the stakeholders that Legacy is drawing together, because it includes approaching the legislature at the state of Texas for things like a groundwater management district, which allows this county to extract enough water, which doesn't exist now, that ability to extract enough water that they're projecting that they want to bring out of the ground. The conversation with Eagle Pass and also with Corpus Christi as part of the Nueces River Valley Authority, in that area anyway, will require travel, will require participation in those meetings, will require an ongoing effort because it is in its infancy stage. And perhaps the Nueces River Valley Authority is a little bit farther along, but understanding from the city of Eagle Pass, they really are trying to invent a plan to find secondary water source. So my motion here, and I would like to move to create space in the budget for this travel and the needed staff to begin to develop these partnerships in full, is simply to recognize that it's a years-long process and that the city of Laredo better get serious about it. I do feel like our utilities department has taken that under advisement and is moving forward. But we know in our not-so-recent past that secondary water was an item that would come up, that we would bring up here on council. Some attention was given to it, and then I believe it fell through the cracks. And we didn't see a lot of forward progress, and it caused a lot of frustration here on council. The intent of this motion is to make sure that that does not happen, to find a permanent space in the utilities department, staff that is continuously working and developing these plans, and then creating room in the budget so that the city prioritizes a secondary water source. We are looking at, we can look at 17 years, but that was with the rainfall projections that we had before we entered, or we recognized that this drought is prolonged. And perhaps before we understood that the 2 primary water sources to the Amistad reservoir, that is where Laredo has 2 years of water storage in that reservoir. The 2 primary sources are the Devil's River and the Pecos River. And both of those rivers are producing 2/3 less water current day. So if things don't change, that trend could continue. And we may face our water issues much more quickly than the 17 years that we kind of hang our hat on. So I don't feel that this motion is stepping on what was already agreed to by this council. I think there was some misinterpretation. I apologize it wasn't clear in what I proposed, but the intent is just to create a focus and an understanding that we have to plan with our regional partners and commit to that effort.
So the Utilities Committee was originally tasked with secondary water sourcing, and eventually, the previous director, I believe, changed the scope. Is it the intent to redirect that committee, or are we creating a new committee, or just?
Well, and I apologize, Mayor Pro Tem, if I may. Yeah, I apologize for the word committee, because I think that is what has thrown people off. Really, it is to make sure that the Utilities Department, which I believe they are doing, has accepted secondary water source as a primary concern and will dedicate funds to making sure we follow through. And those funds, we need to make sure that our budget reflects that, and we dedicate staff to this effort.
Mr. Knapp, did you have a comment on
Yeah,
on
Mayor
that?
Pro Tem and council, just so you know, in 2019, ordinance 2019-071, it created the Water Availability Fund. That Water Availability Fund, one of its purposes is for secondary water exploration and all of that. So that fund, as we know, going through the boil water notice, is fairly healthy. The funds are there. That's what I'm going to say at the short of that. We have the funds in place. I think the work that we've done on the MOUs, I think that, as Councilmember Figueroa had said as well too, we have the Citizen Committee for the Utilities Committee. We've expanded their use, but they are there for that purpose. They were initially a secondary water committee. And as we replace our director, as he comes on board and everything, our whole goal of resetting that utility is to focus on exactly what you're saying as well too. Using the mayor as his directives that we talked about last year and everything, we are moving forward with that, and I think you can see that in the MOUs that we have established. We just have to find which one works the best for our purpose. Know that by 2070, we're required by our water master plan to have 25 to 30% of our water coming from a secondary source, not the river. We need to get it done by 2040 because that's when we hit our water right level within there. And so we've got about 10 to 15 years, I think, that are very important. That's going to be how long it's going to take us to develop out the structure to bring this water into us.
So the Water Availability Fund that you're talking about, the previous director did mention that a lot of those funds had been used for COVID, to alleviate some of the burdens for people who during COVID had lost their jobs and couldn't pay their water bills. So my concern from finding money is just that I had heard that this fund had been tapped for other uses. And so if we're riding the ship, that's great. And if there's enough money to do what we need to do, that's great also.
And I will say that my understanding is that fund is healthy and it replenishes because it's the water availability. So everything, all this new construction and everything is putting money within that fund as well too. It does have more than one use in there. I think there's like 6 uses within that ordinance that's allowed to be utilized for that. So, but I would argue that, or I would debate or state on record that there is money there that will help us with whatever travel, whatever it is to make sure that we get this work done.
So my only other comment based on your comments is that I want us to understand that this is not just looking for one secondary water source.
Correct.
That healthy city systems have 4, 5, multiple sources to rely on. And particularly where we're located, that seems to me to be a very wise procedure to follow.
I think that's where we have the 3 MOUs that we are working with right now. We are talking with one more MOU. And that's essentially all the area around us in order to help bring water into this area. So out of those 4 MOUs, I think our recommendation is, of course, to try to use all of them if necessary. We also appreciate the conversation with what Mayor has said about with Congressman Cuellar, as well as the state. Any type of storage that we can create to hold water in is all a great thing as well too. So the ASRs are, I think that's the term that they were using. So, but all of that stuff is underway, and I think that was the one thing that that we were trying to cover within the earlier report with all the projects as well too. I mean, we have $150 million out there working on water right now, and we have all this stuff in place and in play, and so. I don't think there's going to be any problem with setting that aside, maybe identifying it independently within the budget system. So I think we've got those bases covered. I appreciate the conversation.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Mr. Neff, just because this is so important, and we keep bringing this up over and over again, right? And you just mentioned we need to have it done by 2070. And then you mentioned 2040, right? But because we need to do it by a certain parameter with a state by 2070, but with us, 2040. I just don't, like Councilwoman Figueroa mentions, I certainly don't want to wait till then to get things done. I mean, hoping these are moving along. We have these 3 MOUs signed already. We have 2 other companies coming in. There's another one I need to tell you about, 28 Midstream, that want to come in also. So we're talking about these several sources that are coming in. I just don't want to be playing catch up like we've been having to do, or playing this game, unfortunately, playing catch up. We need to be sure that we hit this way before we even need it. You know, talking about 17 years, even less than that now, right, because of what's going on up north. We want to make sure and get this done very, very quickly. And it's a primary concern with all of council. I mean, as you can see, we pound you on this every single meeting, or at least every other one. And it's just something that I'm sure it's on the back of your mind every single day, because it's really, really of importance to our city, as you well know.
Yeah, and
Councilman King.
I'll let Mr. Neff respond.
Okay, yeah, and just so everybody's aware, I mean, these MOUs were very strategically done. The water availability fee, is based upon this ordinance, was done in 2019. There is, I would argue that it's not as fast as you would like it to be, but there is good movement forward from where we're at, and I think you'll see it snowball faster from this point forward with the MOUs that were done out of the utility department here just recently. Thanks.
Councilman King.
Oh, thank you. I mean, everyone said mostly what, you know, I want to say. Just, it's, you know, I will say that basically, Councilmember Melissa Figueroa asked me to, you know, co-sponsor, and I literally just saw secondary water and said, yes, okay, of course I'm going to co-sponsor an item with that. I mean, I didn't take into account the committee and whether or not it's contradicting a passing. My point is bringing it up, you know, I don't think it really should be coming from a council agenda item to be required to have these discussions. Like, I feel like it should be, we're receiving very consistent, constant updates on, I mean, you do send us a lot of updates about other things, but just consistently being updated on our efforts, and not, you know, we have turnover, we have new, you know, utilities director coming in, but we don't need to let the transition period of that stop the conversation or slow down any momentum. That's all. Yeah.
My concern, if I may, on this is, you know, we've talked about secondary water for decades now. We know we're going to need it. We know that the Rio Grande is endangered. We know that we're going to have to diversify our water portfolio, if you will. But we also know that some of these secondary water providers will give us a price based on the transmission being, you know, immediately potable on our end without factoring in that we're still going to have to process that water. We know that the cheapest source of water for us to provide to our citizens is from the Rio Grande directly. So we've always hesitated because a lot of these secondary sources require us to agree to so many gallons a year, starting almost immediately when we don't need them right now. And that kind of offsets the cost for them to build out these pipes to bring it this way, and those kind of agreements, that's one of the reasons why we've always hesitated to make the agreement, because in other words, we'd be buying water when we don't necessarily need it And it would be more expensive water. It's gonna be double the price than what we're paying right now, and a lot of people want us to reduce costs, and they want us to be more cost efficient. And I don't think they realize that we are providing one of the cheapest waters to the a municipality in the state, probably anywhere. We are efficient in the way that we process, and we are trying to be cost effective in the way that we source the water. We do know that the time's running out, so it's not for a lack of effort, it's just for, you know, these other conditions and factors that are in play here that none of us can really control because, you know, this is just the way things are. There's a cost to everything. So I don't necessarily want to mandate another, you know, group that's gonna go out and kind of step on the toes. I mean, as far as secondary water, we have companies coming to us with, you know, basically their source. We have identified that we can also, you know, put wells and possibly tap into groundwater, which I think would be the most cost effective next to what we're already doing. If we're not pulling from the Rio Grande, then we can pull from the ground ourselves. I don't think we need to travel far to go figure that out. So, you know, I think if we look in terms of cost effectiveness, we should be exploring getting our own access to groundwater locally, you know, instead of sending people and paying for people to travel and go ask for secondary water when we already have options on that front. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you all want to add some comments to this, Mr. Pishker?
Well, I would be happy to, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, and City Management. Couple thoughts for you, and I have a couple pieces.
Name for the record and title.
Oh, well, didn't I say it? Okay, Buzz Pishker and interim everything, I guess, right now, in the Water Utility Department. But, and I don't mean to be cute about that, but trying to help, I guess.
Just for the record.
Just to remind everybody, the city manager gave me one of my tasks when I came here 6 months ago. He said, Buzz, I want you to work on this. So we've done some work on it. I've got two pieces of information I want to give you, and I'll put them up on the screen so everybody can see them, but I'll pass these out. If you look at them, I'll kind of walk you through them. But
You have a copy of it?
there should be some extras.
You can put it in.
I'm gonna put it on. How do I make this work?
There it is.
It's also
There, okay, great. Here's a couple thoughts for you, and some of you have seen this already, I hope. I've provided this at a couple speeches I made and whatever. I can't agree more that the opportunity should be multi-sourced, okay? If you look at this exhibit that I've used now multiple times, you'll see there's multiple opportunities for providing additional source of supply. Obviously, the Rio Grande's our primary. Groundwater supply you've talked about, and we have the MOUs to talk about that. I'm also a fan that we could come up with some regional solutions. I'd like to see Laredo be the leader in this, solving this problem, not the follower, quite frankly. But that's just my bias, okay? Beneficial reuse, we put water back into the Rio Grande River from our wastewater treatment plant. Reuse is now part of our plan, wasn't before, but we should be thinking about that. And some of the stuff I'm going to show you on the next exhibit, I think will really give you some perspective. And then utility optimization. I'm going to get a chance to see you in two weeks and talk about our water main replacement program. We're going to drive down lost water. That creates additional source of supply that we can use, right? It's not going in the ground and not getting out to our residents. So clearly there is a multiple opportunity here. We've pursued ASR now 3 or 4 times. We've had studies. I think we can put an X there for right now until something changes. But the other thing I'll say to you is that was a task I was given. Amongst all the other things, we've got the ball rolling. I will say this to all of you. I actually got a chance the last couple of weeks to do a little more reading. I looked through some files. We've been talking about this since I'm part of this place, since 2007. So it's 2025, I think. And so I will say to all of you, I think the time is now, and I think there's opportunities. I'm excited about it. I think there's a great opportunity here to finally get it to some closure, or at least get a plan in place that we can implement over time and beat the whistle, so to speak. But I will tell all of you, this will be a process that you better have somebody managing for you who can steer you through it, by the way. And it's going to be a process of addition and subtraction. You're going to have things come in and we're going to X some of those out, right? And then we're going to add some new things come in and we'll add those in and we'll keep working our way through that process and get the optimum outcome. But I will say this to you, in another place I was a couple years ago, we invested $36 million in buying water rights for 40 years from now. It's an investment. You're investing in your future. So it's not all about what we spend today and the absolute cost today. There's investment that needs to be made here because it's our critical supply, right? We would invest in that. And then certainly I think all of you, would like to see some discourse in the public, and I think we can do a good job of informing them what's going on, okay? I'm not sure negotiations are by committee, and I respect that, but we can certainly be forthcoming with progress and what's going on, and still respect relationships and MOUs and NDAs and some of those things that we'll get into. So that's that thought. This item, other item I gave you, I'm sorry,
Just
go
to
ahead.
clarify, you said that you don't recommend that we put this in the hands of a committee? Is that what you just said?
I said typically you don't do negotiations by committee. You report to committees. Committees give you guidelines. Committees review your progress along the way. But a lot of these relationships and discussions will be, party or two and those kind of things.
So you're
is what I'm
saying
suggesting.
let the city handle it from a negotiation standpoint and maybe bring it to the existing utilities committee
Here's the
for
way I would say it to you,
deliberation?
Mayor Pro Tem. You are right to say we need focus. We need an outcome. My assumption is, I think I'm pretty much on point, always gets buried in 50 other things and never gets to an outcome. You know what you do? You put somebody in charge and say, this is your mission, get it done. I'm telling you, I think there's a mission here, and I think there's an outcome that can be done with focus, is what I'm suggesting. And that focus can be a group of people, it can be a certain person, it can be a leader of a group of people, those kind of things. I have some opinions I could give you on that. But my point is, I think you're on point. Focus is what's needed. City manager saw that when I got to meet him the first time. Two things he said to me. Look at our current water stage, and we dealt with that, and then we got to get a second source of supply. I said, sounds good, makes sense to me. I don't know how you'd be in the water business without water.
Mr. Knapp, do we have somebody focused on this right now?
It's been our department.
It's been my responsibility.
But now that you're unfortunately leaving us, do we have somebody to take that task and move it forward from where
Yeah,
we left
Mayor
off?
Pro Tem, at this point, Mr. Pishker is still working for the city through the beginning of June. So we have him, he'll be overlapping with the new director, and at that point in time, then we will pass the torch.
So the new director will be then tasked with that focus?
He will be the responsible charge for it, but we will then bring in the engineering department, because we're rebuilding the engineering department and the utility department as well too. We were down to one engineer for the utilities, and so we are rebuilding that. Alud is out there right now helping us with the day-to-day operations.
But
So
we already have a plan in place
we
for
have
this?
people and plans in place, yes.
Okay, just question.
That's okay. The next exhibit you have, and hopefully it'll give you a little bit of a sense of urgency, but reality. We have two treatment plants, as you know, El Pico and Jefferson. Treatment capacity is 93 MGD, okay? Our average day in 2024 was 34 MGD, okay? Our max day, 44 MGD, and as you know, we have the rights to 54 MGD out of the Rio Grande. So, we're not up against a wall right now, but we're wise to be planning so we don't get up against one. The other thing that I think is interesting for you, there's some information here. Look at the wastewater thing. That's the last 4 bullet points. what our capacity is, 39.5 million. We're returning 20 million gallons a day to the Rio Grande. When I talked about reuse, beneficial reuse, that's real water that we're now talking about in our wastewater master plan. We can put in some piping that would allow us to reroute the effluent from the river into our treatment facilities and possibly do that. Okay?
Yes.
Mr. Fishker, yes, if we could capture all that water, it would certainly solve some of our issues, but the American Rivers Network just named the Rio Grande the 5th most risky, most threatened river system in the United States. And so what is our responsibility to return some of the water to this river system so that downstream it still remains a healthy river?
Well, follow my thinking here. What I'm saying to you is, you'll look at the next two lines down. Part of what our water master plan says is we ought to be developing 25 MGD of emergency supply, and we ought to be developing 20 million gallons a day for future supply. So that kind of sets our target, right? Well, where I was going is that for emergency, we could theoretically solve our problem. The other calculation I've done is if you take the 34 MGD, and this is just rough, but I just want to get a ballpark, and you take out all irrigation, this is an emergency, you get to about 17 MGD of health needs. You cut out all non-discretionary usage, all irrigation, probably cut some people that are using water that maybe aren't, critical to our community. I'm talking about an emergency. You then can survive looping water if you have to for a day or two or whatever it is. We have water in storage. I would have my engineers calculate how much water is in our pipes. People forget that all those pipes that are full of water have millions and millions of gallons that get lost in the translation. What I'm trying to say to you is we can plan for the emergency now. We can look to the future. We can develop multiple sources, and we can optimize all of our options is what I'm suggesting, okay? And it's, as I said, it's not just one way. It's not just groundwater. It's not just this. There's multiple options here. And the utility can be part of that, not just getting it done for second source, but being a part of creating some additional source.
Mr.
That's the
Fisher,
message.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So in your expert opinion, is it worth pulling the trigger at this point on one of these already identified secondary water providers to begin that, I guess, bringing in this secondary water source now in anticipation of future needs? Because we already know that the cost is going to be elevated, and we would be making a commitment on so many gallons, starting whenever we decide. Or are we doing the right thing and waiting? And then who's going to make the decision at what point we would sign these agreements? I mean, do we have a plan in place for that? Because identifying secondary water sources, we've got options. It's just a matter of picking one. But we can keep looking, we can keep figuring this out so that we can find a cheaper source that's maybe more sustainable or
Mayor
whatever.
Pro Tem, if the question is, could you phase this and pick this one and then add that one and do this one? Absolutely. And not to coin a phrase, but the deal will be the deal. The reason I show you our treatment capacity is we certainly have the ability to take raw water and treat it, okay? So now you're deciding whether you're buying finished potable water or you're buying raw water and sending it to a treatment plant and treating it, and that has a difference in price and a lot of other things. So as I said, this isn't a straight path, but there's options here, and we've got some good options.
But we're working towards those recommendations.
Yes, and if an opportunity presented itself tomorrow that the group or whoever's doing this thinks is appropriate to invest in today, they ought to bring it to you and say, I think we ought to invest in this today, because it's worth it. And then we can keep working on the next one. This is our product. We have to have it. This isn't we'll go do it and then we can forget about it for whatever. It's an ongoing process, especially in this part of the United States. So we got to treat it that way. But you need some outcomes along the way, is my suggestion. And you need focus, you need somebody saying, we need an outcome.
Thank you. Mr. De Los, yeah, Mr. De Los Santos, did you want to add something, or you just, you're fine?
So, I think there's also, we need to expect, or maybe set the expectations to the public, that when we're talking about having identified secondary water sources, we've identified potential secondary water sources. I think the Legacy Water Supply Corporation is probably the most advanced in their plans, but they still only have 4 wells out of 42, and there is no pipe structure to pump that to us. That's an ongoing developing plan. With Eagle Pass, there is an idea of where maybe they could source some water, but those plans have not been finished. The actual source hasn't been identified, and it would require the extraction of that resource, and then you have to develop the pipe system to get it to us. And then with the Nueces River Valley Authority, that probably is the desal plant that's coming online. It still hasn't been built. And so again, it would require, hopefully the Texas legislature will get involved to create a piping system, not only to deliver water all the way to our side of the state, but also to other communities along that route. So yes, we've identified secondary water sources. The groundwater here, an easy, and I have that in air quotes, an easy well would be an unsustainable reservoir of water versus what Legacy has chosen to do, which is to drill 3,000 feet to find a better source of water, but it's not an easy thing to drill. So all of this is still not a secondary water source that we can go to, say we're gonna pay for it, and maybe we set the pipes or maybe we truck it over. We're just not there yet. And so that is why I try to frame this in a way that whatever we choose to do, we have to be focused so that all of these projects can be finished out and we can be a partner in developing all of them. Because it's gonna require a regional effort and it's gonna require ongoing communication and planning.
I go back to my comments, when my comment was not about Legacy, my comment was about other providers that, I mean, these conversations have been going on for years. We have Dimmitt County that's ready to put a pipe tomorrow and bring water down here. We would have to commit. It's not about finding a source for them. They have a source. They can provide the source. We just have to pay a higher price for it. Not everything's about Legacy. Legacy's one provider. We've got others, but they're more expensive. And they are other providers of water that are ready to go, that we could pull the trigger on if we needed to. But we've always been hesitant because of the cost. Councilman Gonzalez?
Mr. Fisher, just to conclude, would our near local groundwater require to be treated for commercial schools and parks irrigation?
Are you saying could we develop a non-potable supply that could serve irrigation systems?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Great to hear.
Absolutely. And by the way, you know there's been discussion of Lake Casablanca. It doesn't have the capacity to sustain the water system, but it may have alternate uses for those kind of things. In fact, we have several of the golf courses being irrigated today with effluent from our wastewater plants.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
I just would like to go back to the earlier question, because it didn't sound like there was an answer when we're asking about focus and a concerted effort with somebody in the city leading that charge. Who is this person, rather than just the department? And I would hope that maybe Mr. Pishker would consider staying on anyway, that's a conversation obviously for you to have, but we need the focus within the department, and this new utilities director will have his hands full.
And that's the key to this thing, is that I need the overlap between Mr. Pishker and the new director in order to establish who is that face of secondary water. I would expect it's going to be one of our engineers that we have out at the utility plant at that point in time. I would argue that we don't have that right now, or I will say that we don't have that right now because I'm leaning on Mr. Pisker, and I will lean on our new utility director the same way. So, and so it is, it's a community effort right now, because know that less than 6 months ago, we did not have any MOUs, and we now have 3 of them.
Mr. Nab, I had made a motion in the past that we have an item on the agenda to get updates from the water department, and then they've dropped off the agendas. I think it'd be helpful to have those items back. We never made a motion not to have them, so I think if we're gonna follow, commands, no.
Mayor Pro Tem,
No.
and just so you know, I want to make sure that they're on there. I think the challenge we had is that we had utility on every meeting, and we were making stuff up to have a conversation on. I really want to make sure that the information they provide you is valid and accurate, and is not just, well, what am I going to talk about today? And so I'm happy to make sure that we do get regular updates within that. And I think that you do receive a lot of them in the Friday reports as well too, but we can make sure it gets better.
I think that's a misinterpretation of the directive, because the directive was not to tell us a story every 2 weeks on what we want to hear. It was to tell us where we're at on these improvements, the looping of the lines. We haven't talked about cutting off or looping these lines that were causing the dead end, degradation to our water supply that had been caused our previous boil water notice back before you got here, Mr. Fishko, of course. And he's acting like this is the first time he hears of that. So, we did have that initiative. We did have the water line changing. I mean, there's enough going on over there that we can at least get a little update, and for the public to see that water is our focus, because somehow they think that we've not been focused on water, and that was the whole purpose of having it on there, was for us to know and for the public to know what we're doing in the water department.
I can appreciate
I think the point Mayor Pro Tem is making is that under the previous director, towards, let's say, the last year of his term, it just became a running through the motions thing, and the energy that he was bringing kind of also brought, it was just not quality thing, updates towards the end, because it just became, like you said, just coming up with something to show us. It was just going through the motions, and so with the next director, I'm hoping we can revamp the expectations for that presentation every meeting, so that,
And just be aware, and Mayor Pro Tem and City Council, be aware that one of the things that Mr. Chavez is working on with our utility department as well too, is to implement that full-blown website dashboard as well too for all of the projects. And so the same information that's coming out of the engineering department will be coming out of the utilities department as well too. So you don't have to wait for a council meeting in order to get the information you're looking for as well. That's what I'm saying with that one, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Just one very quickly. I will say that the previous director did put in some planning for beneficial reuse. We heard about purple pipes coming out from the Manavis plant in the future, and setting up some MOUs with our larger users, and of course carrying out those studies that found that groundwater storage just is not in our, or below ground storage is not in our future.
Yeah, when I talk about beneficial reuse, I'm not talking about purple pipe. Okay, I'm talking about taking waste flow, putting it in the stream, and then retreating it, kind of a closed loop. That's what I'm talking about. Purple pipe, to me, is another piping system. We're having a challenge managing our current piping system, right? And so that's a whole different story. But when I talk about beneficial reuse, I'm talking about, by the way, the city down the street uses our, because it goes in the stream, right? That's what I'm talking about, just to be clear.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We don't have anything else. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion's adjourned.
I was gonna say, but